are going to be talking about completely open centers in human design, and I'm really excited about this episode.
Yeah, people don't necessarily think about it so much, but if there is no activation, it's a different little animal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a whole different way of functioning. I like to think of it as open centers are like you have the hardware, but not the software. It's like you have the computer, but the program isn't downloaded onto it. And so it gives a really interesting way of how those function while also giving us a different way of understanding the center as a whole.
I want to add to that program. The code to the program is there and it's completely open, awaiting programming. So there's something loaded, but it's just blank zeros. It's waiting, it's completely open to the conditioning field. So that's why the term not knowing ends up being in front of, or not knowing what to feel, not just not knowing, ends up in front of many of the descriptions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really fun one to dive
Mhm.
into. And if you'd like to book a reading with either Danny or myself, then you can check out the QR code right above me, or the link is down in the description box below. You can use code AWAKEN for 10% off, so you can save a little bit and book a reading with either Danny or myself.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. I can't wait. I hope to be reading for people soon.
Absolutely. And if you've been getting a whole lot out of our channel and you'd like to help support us and maybe donate a little bit, you can check out the code above, or again, it's down in the description box below. And we appreciate anything you would like to share with us. And with that, thank you to everyone who is watching, liking, subscribing, hanging out, commenting, asking us questions, doing all the fun things. We love having you, and let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Starting off, we're just going to give a little background info on the 9 centers overall and what they are within the body graph. So any of the centers, basically the big shapes that are either colored in or plain white on your chart, these are energy hubs transforming and transmuting life force energy. So it's where the energy is kind of going into to then be transformed to then do the next thing and linking up with other bits of energy from other centers. So there's different configurations of how these shapes are going to communicate within your chart. So first up, we're going to talk about defined centers, and that's when you have 2 gates forming one channel, and this provides consistent energy. So here on our graphic, you can see that this is the sacral and the solar plexus. So these are colored in, so that means that they're defined, and it's the 59, gate 59, and then gate 6, that 2 gates form the one channel, which is the 59-6, which then defines both centers. And then there's consistent energy.
So it infers that as soon as you have those 2 gates in your body graph, or any 2 gates on opposite sides of a channel, they create the channel. That's the thing. So steady, turned on, defined, like you're saying.
The next configuration you can have is when it is undefined or it's dormant and there's a hanging gate. There's no full channel connection, and then there's inconsistent energy. So here on our graphic, you can see that these centers are white, but then you have these little hanging gates. You have the 8, but the other side isn't there. You have the 59, but the 6 isn't there. And then the centers are white. So these hanging gates, these dormant gates of, in this example, 8 and 59, it means there's inconsistent energy. It's there, but it can't reach to the other side unless someone's there to help them out.
So they're just hanging there and they become themes of the open center. It's worth noting. They become the themes that you have in there. So when we get there, you'll see why the difference between that and then a completely open center with no dormant hanging gates. And dormant and hanging aren't quite synonyms. Dormant means in an open center, and hanging means not connected to another gate creating a channel. So because you can have hanging gates in defined centers is the point.
That's a
Because
really
people
good.
ask all these picayune questions, so I always try and say each and every one just to get it on record,
Oh, I appreciate it because it's a really good clarification that I didn't think to add in this. And I was like, that's a really good thing to add. Thanks, Danny. When there's the hanging gate, it basically gives the energy that's coming in like a funnel, right? So any of the energy that this sacral in this example is going to be receiving, it can funnel into the 59 in those specific expressions, which will then differ to the completely open.
And that funneling will show up in your personality as you sense it through your openness. And I can't wait to teach you what to do with this openness.
Now we have the completely open center example. And this is where the center is white and all of the gates that would be coming off of it are also white. There's no gate activations, and it means there's no frame of reference. So in our example here, we have a completely white sacral center. The 9 gates on the sacral are all white. There's nothing coming in, there's nothing coming out. It's completely white. And whereas this above example has like a funnel, it can express as the 8 or the 59. This one instead, it can express in any way.
Right. And it becomes this openness where it doesn't know what to generate. It doesn't know what to do. And we'll get into all the things. That's why I was saying earlier, don't know what to feel, don't know what to think, don't know what is inspiring. These things become a theme of a completely open center. And as we get into it, you'll see what it is. So this thing doesn't have a prejudice. And prejudice and biases are good, right? We have to have them. I'm biased towards being soaking wet when I'm totally dry. Okay, so I have a bias that way. How do I know I got dry clothes? How does this person know they got the theme? The middle one has a theme. Gate 8 belongs in the throat, of course, and 59 belongs in the sacral, but it's still the themes. The point is that there's a theme sitting there, and so 59's theme is playing out in the sacral when that open sacral suddenly is realizing it wants to bond. So everything it's responding to has a bonding sense to it. But when it's completely open, doesn't know what to, can't tell who, don't have a bias and a prejudice towards something. So
completely open centers, there's like no preloaded data, right? So there's
mm,
the hardware. You have a sacral center, it is there, it is functioning, but the programming of gate 59 or gate 14 isn't there. So there's no preloaded data and software, which means there's no familiar or consistent theme or no feeling to hang on to, which can feel confusing, uncomfortable, and vulnerable to conditioning. They're exposed to amplification of information pouring into the center. There's no filter, no prejudice, no theme. There's nothing to latch onto. It's just all open. Then they're open to the center's full potential for experiential learning because they're not limited by the specific program. It could be anything. So this is a really wonderful source of wisdom, and it's actually a perfect teacher to really understand a center and all the gates separately because you can experience all of them. And these people are going to be taking in exactly what's given to them and amplifying it back out.
and that's when it's very clean. And it's clean when you've been in your experiment and you've been watching yourself be yourself. And you have an open sacral and you realize those times that the not self of the open sacral, which is not knowing when enough is enough and just sort of going too hard at things and going too long and sapping your own energy until you can't get a good night's sleep and all the things that come with that. You get that down to a dull roar and suddenly the wisdom of it comes out. It comes out of, in the sacral's instance, it would come out as knowing when to go ahead and generate and for how long and the wisdom of that. And now it becomes a wicked powerful being. Imagine if you can generate your full potential, right, for exactly the amount of time that you're healthy doing it, and then you stop. That means every time you generate, you're doing it healthy. Now you're potent. You're a potent being because you haven't spent half of that time sapping your vitality.
And that within that full expression, in the example of the sacral, like this person who would have a completely open sacral would fully understand each separate gate, how it works, what are the right ways that it works, what are the wrong ways that it works, and then I can choose to use this one, this one, this one, but not this one. It's like they get to almost be more picky and play with the full variety of expression.
As soon as there's a prejudice, which was, I'm glad that's one of the keynotes in this slide. As soon as there's a prejudice and a bias towards a theme, and when we say the word theme, we're talking about a hanging gate and an open center called dormant gate. So when that happens, that theme prejudices it, and suddenly it can't quite, it does not have the full wisdom. It doesn't mean it can't get the full wisdom, by the way, because it's open. It is open to it. It's just not the normal proclivity to
It's getting
gain
an
the.
angle. It's getting
Yep,
like it's
yep,
aimed in a certain
yep,
pathway.
yep, yep, absolutely.
We're going to go through all 9 centers and what it's like when they're completely open. And we're going to begin with the most common open centers to the least common open centers. So starting off with the head center, which is about mental pressure and inspiration. When it's undefined, which is 73.8% of the population, they're thinking about things that don't matter and lost in mental monologues, mindless not self thoughts and questions. Compared to the completely open center, which 36.5 of us have that completely open, and they're just unsure what to focus on. There's no innate recognition of mental value, and there can be a lot of anxiety about this because it's like, what do I think about? I'm going to think about this and this and this and this, and I don't even know what to think about, and it can be like, too many things overwhelming. And they can either avoid or be lost in intellect because there's just so much coming in. And then the gift is being able to gauge inspiration and who uses their minds effectively.
What inspires you? What questions are worth answering? What is interesting? What, because the pressures us towards things, and if they're not interesting, then that becomes one of your leading questions. What is interesting to me? For the Open Head Center, that is actually a question every Open Head Center, whether there are themes on it or not, is what is interesting to me? Because you'll find 98.999% of all the things you're thinking aren't interesting to you quite. Not at that time, not at that moment. And so you look the undefined, but there is a theme. So the 73.8% of us are undefined and 36, that's about half. Half have it totally open, half have a theme. For the half that have a theme, it is thinking about things that don't matter because there's a theme to give some kind of flesh to the thing, and now it's a thing, and it also doesn't matter to your right now. And you'll find that out. You'll find that very few. Sometimes the thing matters. You just have, this is where you get wise in plucking, oh, you know what? None of it actually matters right now. When it's completely open, that bias is not there, and unsure what to think about, unsure what is even interesting. And yet you still have all the theme of thinking about too many things and things that don't matter. So you don't get rid of it. You get the not self being gets the first aspect of this, thinking about things that don't matter, and the second aspect when it's completely open. When you start to become aware of this and witness it in your experiment and witness that seeing it and witnessing it aligns it and kills the conditioning, then suddenly you're able to witness that most of these things don't matter. And now this gift, gauging inspiration, is across the whole gamut. Confusion, got it. It's not mine, but I like this particular confusion. Sudden knowing in the thinker that rationalizes and sees that there is a mystery, and now I know, or I'm pressured to know. Hey, that's good pressure. Let's follow this train. Let's not follow this train. They become wise on what's good for them, and it helps the other going through the same thing. You know how we always assume, hey, don't worry, you're in a room, you're around a bunch of generators sooner, somehow or other, right? We just assume there's a generator on the other side more often than not. Look at the assumption here. It's even more than the generator. Generator stops at 70, 68 to 70%. This is over that. So go ahead and assume you're talking to an open head when you're getting mixed up with things. And, if you find out otherwise, that's different, but just it's a thing. So the majority of the population has this. Think about that. The majority of the population is giving themselves anxiety within their unique forms, all of which have different inner authorities mixed up amongst everyone else in the Maya, everyone online with a podcast talking about things that don't matter, pressuring us to talk about things that don't matter, pressuring everyone around them, and then feeling that mental anxiety. And if it's completely open, now it's just a morass. I don't even know what's interesting in any of this. So it's a lot.
Yeah, I have the completely open head. And
Oh, do you recognize that stuff then, right?
yes, absolutely. Of course
That's why
I
you were
do.
smiling. I was wondering the extra smile. I'm like, she's got something to say.
Yeah, no, I have a completely open head center, which can either be really, really fun as you like go down all these rabbit holes, or it just turns into like, I've wasted years and thinking about dumb stuff that doesn't matter, but it seemed interesting at the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and also
Mm-hmm.
that kind of sense of overwhelm of like, am I supposed to think about this? Am I supposed to think about this? Especially in a crowd, because there's so much different people and different like head pressures or whatever. And like I could notice, like I'm seeing a band, I'm in front of a DJ, like I should just be dancing and having fun. And I have all these like crazy thoughts going through. I'm like, these aren't even mine. Like it's just so much that's coming through. And I will also say, completely open head with another person with a completely open head center, you can get into some really neat conversations. You can get
Mm.
into some really like it don't matter and you can get lost getting stuck in it, but you can also have a lot of fun because you could just two people who can be inspired by anything. So depending on how it's used, it can be super brilliant and inspirational, or it can be very overwhelming and like very much caught in the mental pressure and trying to figure things out and, asking questions that no one's even answering and going over it and over it and over again to the point of like nauseum.
Keep in mind, this open head center is our connection, this head center itself and its pineal gland, because this is the home of the pineal gland,
I thought
is
that
our
was the Ajna.
connection.
I thought the Ajna was the pineal,
Head
pineal
center.
gland.
No, head center. That's our connection into the outside world. Yeah, check that out, Moni.
I am.
Um,
I'm going to totally double check
yeah,
that.
that's our connection into the outside world. That's when I say that it's the outside universe. Everyone knows this pineal gland is doing something more than just being a pineal gland inside of us. There's something extra that happens with it. This is our sort of tether into the greater universe as it relates to all things spiritual. It's pressuring us to be inspired. And inspiration, I mean, we exalt inspiration, right? We exalt that and be like, we want to have good inspiration and good inspiration. The gift here becomes gauging what inspiration is worth having. You get to have access to all types of inspiration without a theme biasing it away from the other two types of inspiration. What do you got there, Moni?
Yes, confirmation. The head center is associated with our pineal gland, which
Yep.
regulates the flow of information between the gray areas of the brain and the neocortex, or between the head and the ajna. So, yes, you were
And
right.
above and out. Above and out. I mean, I believe that anyways. I don't know how I can prove that to anybody, but it's our connection, and part of our connection into source is this pineal gland. It's been written through the ages, and those guys are always on to something. So I'm going with it for now.
Sure.
But yeah, just imagine you get to be the final arbiter on the all of what is inspiration if you're completely open. And when I say arbiter, it doesn't mean you get to decide for someone else. Arbiter for yourself. Oh my God, my inspiration has such a variety. Yep, allow that. I have themes in my defined head center, just so you know. And so as the inspiration comes through, they're still in those defined ways. The themes are incredibly biased. So that means about 99.999, almost infinity% of the inspirations I might be deaf to because
Oh,
I have
yeah.
a narrow definition. Everyone's got definition is narrow and it's narrow in. So
Oh yeah, it's even in when we talk. And it's we be a bit with the ajna as well, but you have the head ajna definition. And there's sometimes where I'm like, Danny, really, like just be open to it. And you're like, I don't know. And you'll be very like
right,
steadfast. And then I like
right.
explain it. And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, all right,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
you have to be like proven it too. Like I need to
Hmm.
actually be able to convince or show you, like, no, here's
Right.
this logic, here's this thing, because the defined will
And I
be so
was,
much,
and
it'll
in
be
those,
defined
that
and stuff.
moment, Moni, I don't know that I'm actually open to the thing at that moment yet. I'm waiting for new stuff to come in. I'm actually not even open to it technically. Not capable of being open, just not
In
open
that
in that.
moment. Yeah,
Yep.
no, it's like a wall until
Yep.
I like, wait, but here, wait, look at this thing, look at this, da da da, and then fine print. And then it's like when it makes sense, then all of a sudden there's an opening for that data to come in.
I would have been bummed if it was in the Ajna Center, by the way. However, I'm open. I'm like, okay, look at
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Yeah, let me check my citation. And then the next part that we have is pretty fun. I actually found some celebrities with completely open head centers so we can kind of see in the world how this may show up. So Robin Williams, Lucille Ball, Steve Martin, Mitch Hedberg, these are all super brilliant famous comedians that were just like wacky and wild and could think of all this crazy stuff and be inspired in all these different ways and like think in different ways that no one else thought of that would blow our minds. Cat Williams, he's another brilliant stand-up comedian, but he's like a voracious reader. Like he goes to the library like every week and gets like 20 books or something. I've seen him on podcasts talk about it because he is just a voracious learner to take all this
That
data
makes
in.
him a ferocious recipient of inspiration, which he's
Mhm.
supposed to be. Please,
Mhm.
cat, receive. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. David Bowie, Lady Gaga, brilliant, wacky, singers and musicians, artists who are expressing in all these wild ways. And then Jack
Jack
Black,
Black,
like,
that makes sense for Jack Black. I get it.
mhm.
He's always waiting for other inspiration, and then suddenly he's off and running on
Yeah.
wacky, weird things.
And then just bounces it off of it and then just amplifies it times a million.
definitely a great expression. This is sort of that gift. So if you have a completely open head center, sort of just think Jack Black or Robin Williams.
Yeah, it's like a yes and then times 10.
Yeah. Yeah. The inspiration under pressure manifested through speaking and doing something through the manifestation.
So next up, we're going to go to the heart, the ego, or the will, because it has all three names. So this is willpower, ego, and the material world. So regular, undefined, but there's some kind of hanging gates on it. That's 62.6%. This is no consistent energy to be willful or competitive. And they can get caught up trying to prove their worth with borrowed willpower and then overachieving. Conversely, the completely open will center is 22.3%, and they have no grasp on worthiness or how to measure it. And they waver between an exaggerated sense of importance and no worth at all. They can be a very fragile and inconsistent sense of self esteem, a nagging sense of inadequacy, and they can be very vulnerable to manipulation by people promising worthiness. And they can be very, very offended if you do not have the willpower to fund their heart's desires, is what I have
Hmm.
found out. And the gift of the completely open will is being able to gauge worth and value and the proper use of resources. The open
Good.
will people in my life, they one pendulum to the other. Either they have no concept of interacting with like material world things and they lose them, they trip over them, and I'm like, just give it to me. Let me take care of it. Let me take care of this for you. Or it's like the coin collector, antique dealer who knows the inside, outside, upside down, like financial wizard, stockbroker kind of person. And they could be both in different realms of things. They're either genius of how to deal with resources or it just blank.
So the heart center, this beautiful red little ego triangle where all roads lead to it first before they get to the throat. So the ego's special. It's got its own little internal workings, right? It's the home of this tribal, supportive, and sensitive mechanism. It's also the home of the approach and basically the thing that becomes our spiritually mystical path through this communion with others that is up close and personal and supportive, and through the shock of 51 into the innocence of 25, all the way into the now. I'm keynoting the mystical circuit. There is a circuit that is mystical inside the body graph. We'll do it one day. And the tribe is the home of that. The tribe sets this ritual that is steeped in types of wonder and mysticism. So that's part of the tribe outside of its material path. Just recognize they're both there. The reason I'm saying that is when we get to the gift, it'll be important. Undefined, no consistent energy to be willful or competitive. Okay, so think about that. That's true. And you know that. And if it's open, you totally have this sense of feeling like you have to prove it and feeling down about why other people can do stuff better than you. I mean, that's just the greatest way to look at it because everyone recognizes that low feeling of someone else did it better than you, especially if they rubbed it in your face. Then it's extreme embarrassment. When you're totally open, that extreme embarrassment of someone rubbing it in your face and this extreme wanting to get small and feeling worthless and feeling stupid and feeling all these not strong, not good, all the stuff that creeps in. I said that too much. I did whatever, and I look like a fool. This is this ego. I mean, big time because it's a motor and it's part of movement and stuff. And so you feel it. So everything you just did, you can feel like the fool and you're not good enough and you get called out. And now the embarrassment comes there. The shame shows up, all that stuff. When it's completely open, you don't even know why it's coming in on you, but you know it's there. You're used to it all the time. And every time you go to prove something, suddenly you come up against a wall because now you're open to, I want to prove how shocking I am. I'm going to prove I'll get that work done. I'm going to prove I can give that message and I got the loudest voice and I'm going to rally the forces. I'm going to prove I can manhandle this thing. I'm in control of this thing. And you try to do it all. At least if you have themes, they tend to go out those themes and they're just as maniacal, to the not self conditioned being. Realize when I say not self conditioned, I always say both together because the not self being is conditioned, but we're conditioned too. And whatever degree of waking up you're in from your human design experiment and seeing the nature of your way, you've still been conditioned. You're totally. So get used to it. So it doesn't leave you. We're going to have to deal with it, but we see it and put it in its proper place in order to get to this gift. gauging worth and value and the proper use of resource. What a great resource. Gauge, because I always used to say deciding what challenge was worthwhile, what's worth proving, because I only am going to prove the things that are worth proving. And boy, do I get a joy out of that. And it makes us more careful. A gift is I'm a little more careful. You know who likes proving things? Ego people. Let them prove it until suddenly you got like, no, this is my thing. I love doing this. And then as long as it doesn't matter that you're not competing, you start to realize I'm awake as myself. Because the totally open ego has no idea what to prove. But then suddenly it'll get caught in something and immediately it can get drenched in having to prove that thing. Whereas if you have a theme, they'll at least know to steer clear of it that particular way. And they'll only do it in this one way where there's a theme. So I have a completely open ego. I had no idea about anything. I didn't know. What I did notice is I was quickly struck throughout my whole life, going as a kid and everything. As soon as I reached a point in my life where suddenly it mattered that someone else could do something that I couldn't do. And I remember how that would hit me and make me get small and embarrassed and not want to speak that out to anyone else, not want to admit a weakness. And it buried inside of me in a really, this center, small as it is. I mean, Rob would go back and forth about which centers have the most impact, and this was always near the top of the pack as it relates to openness, the open, not self-open, ego, heart, will center. It causes us to compete in the most unhealthy ways and go against each other and start fights or be afraid of them or start them and then be afraid of them or start them and then run away. Go
There's
do bad things that you shouldn't have done just because. Just because. Yeah.
there's definitely a potential for like spite here, like a
Mm-hmm.
very deep level of spite and violence. Like we've talked about this before, but it's like if I'm like had one center that I was most afraid of, it would be like an insecure open will center that is like also potentially violent, because
Mm-hmm.
they can really really lash out because there is that level of being offended. And so there's almost like, because I have a defined will, and so if I'm in a good place, the open will people are like, oh my god, yay, because they're amplifying my goodwill. And there's a part of me that feels like I need to constantly tend to the undefined wills and not offend them and not offend them, because I've had so many situations in my life where it's just like I don't have the will to fund their specific thing. And I gotta just like, I gotta do me. I don't have the will for it. And the level of offense and anger and lashing out that could come from an open will is like, whoa.
Well, Moni, you just keynoted something that I don't think is in the Maya yet, so we might as well take credit for it. Goodwill. This is the home of that whole goodwill and peace towards others. Came from the will to do so. Goodwill comes with peace and communion and movement towards beauty and spirit, both mystical and mundane, and material, the spirit of, hey, job well done. We put some more money in the bank. That's a healthy spirit. And spirit of the mystical, oh my God, we're epiphany time or whatever, something amazing takes place and the spirit gets filled up in that way. The tribal spirit I'm referring to. My completely open will had no idea what to do. And when I got stuck in things that I responded to as myself, I noticed I did pretty good. So if you have an open ego, whether there's activations or it's completely open and you're just lost in that, remember, not knowing what to prove, not sensing, having no sense of what even the value is you're supposed to give yourself, having zero sense of what to do with yourself when someone just paid you a compliment. Zero feeling, can't feel the feeling of it. Someone just said the nicest thing and you're embarrassed. You can't tell it's you. That's this completely open bad boy. Now, if you got a theme on it, you still can't quite tell it's you, but you're theming it against something. It's a bias. When you start to really see it, the gift comes in because now it's goodwill towards all. And by the way, when your inner authority says go, and your individual definition is empowered or gates, and your sacral responds, and your spleen says healthy, safe, right? All these things you go through a confusion process and suddenly realization, you're just as empowered to do all the things ego would do in the first place. It's just that ego can resign itself to do it smack when it doesn't want to. And it'll lift its dang self up and do the dang thing like it's the most responsible person in the natural world. And it's annoying you guys are so good at it. It's like, I don't feel like doing it. I missed the trash this week. They'll get it next week. It'll overflow a little bit. What's the big deal? Just save another bag. Yes, because I missed it because I didn't feel like it. And the ego's like, march out there in the freaking middle of the snow
Gotta
and
do the thing.
and then I look at that and then I feel bad because I couldn't. But the thing is, gauging this whole worth and value as yourself, you show up with all the aspects of what ego would do. Suddenly it comes to me and I'm empowered. I want this thing done. I got to do it. I have a completely open ego. I'm here every week. I'm here every single week without fail. This is the second time or third time now, technically, that I've made this venture, right, Moni? I've done this before in another channel several years back. We did a year and a half, a million episodes. You see what I'm saying? It's like that's not willpower. It can't be. I'm completely open there. So what is it? I'm empowered. Generator said yes. And now you can't tell that I don't have the will to sit here and do the thing and da 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 da. That's what I've noticed. So you end up having goodwill. Where your will is good because it is open, you sense that you have the good energy for it. It's not quite willpower, but you do have a heart center. It is akin to willpower. It feels powerful. Let it be. You've got nothing to prove. Nothing to prove. And by the way, if you doubt that, walk into a situation where you absolutely are supposed to have something to prove. And if you're brave enough and walk in there just with nothing to prove, you watch what happens. Watch what happens. Sorry, I didn't know it. I've got nothing to prove here. Will be your statement in a hairy little personal situation about something. And you watch how that other reacts. And suddenly you'll get to know if they love you or not, if it's right for you or not, because they'll demand you prove it or not, right? Seeing it kills it, peeps. You got to see these things so you can get rid of this conditioning once and for all, or put it in its place is really what it is. You don't get rid of it. You minimize it and compact it down into, a little Ziploc sandwich baggie for when it wants to pop out.
Yeah, definitely. It's like let the defined will people prove the stuff. Like we're
I
made
love that
for it.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it honestly it feels kind of funny as a defined will when an undefined or an open will tries to prove something and it's not even the right thing for them, and you're just like, just stop, just stop. Like it feels weird. Let it
Awkward.
go. It is
White
very
boys, white
awkward.
boys trying to dance when they ain't never done it. It's awkward.
Yeah, and it's like and we don't even expect it of you. And it feels weird when there is that kind of push on it. I will say one more thing. My bestie has a completely open will center and she's very energetically sensitive and all the things and she can tell people's intentions by hugging them. Like when she's near enough a person and like hug somebody as like a hello, she can totally tune into like their intentions. She also has a completely open solar plexus, so I think it's like the combination of both, but she can feel and gauge another person's like will for
Mm.
better and worse.
Yep, for better and worse. You got nothing to prove, peeps. I have nothing to prove. We're off the hook. And by the way, because ego people that are defined, the much smaller percentage that is defined, because they do have something to prove and then they are in competition with themselves and they do love to hear themselves roar and they do need to control certain things about their environment because all these things and their love of work when they're in the right work and their will to finish the dang thing, they get a reward that we open people don't get. It's part of our confusion. We're supposed to feel better when we just did the thing, but we only get a momentary bump. It's like, not enough. It's just at all. But you guys are like, I did that thing. And then
I did
tomorrow you
this and
still
then I
have
did
that in
this.
your heart because you did that thing. And it moves your way. It moves you through your way in life in certain ways and aspects. And it feels good. It's a reward. They get an ego reward. Let them have their dang ego reward, even if it whatever. So you'll see, I don't care. That's what you'll see when you're open. You and if you think you care, now you're in your experiment and you get to witness. Apparently, I think I care because I'm wound up about this thing, and I'm finally seeing it. So I'm saying it to myself. I'm embarrassed. I'm not going to share this with anyone yet, but I'm seeing it, and I don't want to care. And now you're correct. You're right. You don't want to care. Now you've seen it. You don't want that. So quit it.
Yeah, don't go
Today,
chasing
please.
it. Don't go
Yeah,
chasing
please.
the proving yourself reward because you're never going to get that, like, ah, I did it. My cousin has a completely open will, and she's accomplished so many things, so many jobs and degrees and like big deal stuff. And she's like, it doesn't even until she found this one specific thing. And then she's like, oh my God, now this finally lights her up. But everything else, she was proving herself with this and proving herself with this and all these
Me
different
too,
things that
Moni.
nothing. So just
And
like
it's not
don't chase the check mark or the cookie because you're not really going to get it in the way of defined will.
right. That's wicked true. Just to clarify, I do get a bump. It lasts anywhere from 0.01 minutes to like, like nothing almost to like it can be there for a day or so, mostly because other people are recognizing it and I don't quite know what to feel, but it does feel good, but it is nothing like, mostly it's just a little bump for a few minutes, like, like me, the satisfaction. So it's the satisfaction and the relief. Oh,
It's like a
okay,
cheap
yeah.
high. It's like a cheap
It's
like
a cheap
whip
high
it
by
high.
comparison. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's a much lesser thing. So, and if you want to chase I chased a GPA. When I finally stopped, it was like, oh, good, I get to stop now. But you know what? It was the right thing for me to chase because it kept my mind busy. You see my 46, my 47, it's like busy fingers, busy, to stay mentally active is healthy. So it was good for me, and I liked it. But, and then suddenly I stopped liking it. I
But
just didn't care that much. And
so
I and
stop
I
doing the stuff you don't like.
I tortured myself for about half of that semester to keep it up. I was nearing the end anyways. I only had one more semester left, but I remember I didn't torture myself for long. I got
Good.
tricky. My 44 got tricky. I went to teachers and made up some crap to try and get them to ease up and let me have the A minus instead of a B or something like that. I did. I don't care. But at the end of the day, I wasn't expecting it and I didn't have to prove it to anyone. And I mean, because for the longest time, I maintained at like right at near 4.0. It was always like, oh, it was like the greatest thing ever. I liked it. It kept me in the books too. I didn't mind it. I could sit still, Moni.
Oh,
I don't have a 52, and I was able to sit still plenty and like do it. Like that thing. Anyway, none of that was willpower, peeps.
so here we have our celebrity examples with completely open will centers. So we have Robert De Niro, Andy Garcia, Jack Nicholson, and Joe Pesci. Like all four of those right there, they're all dudes who play these big, tough, macho guys who are gonna beat you up and like, mob boss kind of guys. And it like makes sense because they're acting. They're acting and they're playing with all these different expressions of willpower and being the tough guy who proves himself because they're playing pretend.
They can be
You
very verbose at it, right? They're good at it, just like the open throat's supposed to be the great singer, technically.
Then you have Jerry Seinfeld, which is like so much of his comedy is like, what's the deal with this thing? What's the deal with this material resource in the
He
world?
even says stuff like, "Do I even need to care about this?" He says stuff like that. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, that's straight up. John Mulaney, he's another really brilliant stand-up comedian. He's super great. He makes fun of himself as being like, he's so weak and he just, he looks
Okay.
like an Asian soccer mom kind of thing. Like he makes fun of his own weakness and kind of not being the tough guy persona. And then we actually have Jack Black again, which totally makes sense because he's goes so big as like he gets the crazy inspiration with the open head, and then the open will goes nuts with this and this, and he's going to prove he's the wackiest, craziest Jack Black of all Jack Blacks that ever Jack Black.
Totally. When I was a musician for those 6 years and we toured around in rock and roll bands with long hair, that was the thing. We had Jack Black disease. Anything we could do to make it bigger and I know there was defined will in that band.
Yeah, and then the
You
open
know,
wills were amplifying it.
Yeah, and absolutely. So, an idea came along, and if there was a possibility to jack that up into something bigger, it's like, hey, we got the stage thing. Cool. Can we make it hover and spin? Whatever,
You
whatever
turn
it
it to
was.
11.
Yes, turn it to 11. Anything we could do to turn it to 11. It was there.
So those are our celebrity examples for the completely open will center that totally just makes sense. Next up, we have the completely open Ajna, which is about conceptualizing and interpreting information. Undefined is 52.9% of the population, and they have an open or flexible mind. They may struggle with being able to discern which concepts have value, but at least they have like an angle on it, and they're conditioned to be certain about things that don't matter. The completely open Ajna, which is 9.6% of the population, they have a difficulty knowing how to interpret information overall. There's no guiding channel to organize the thoughts, and there's nothing fixed to depend on, which can feel hopeless or futile. They help us see through the ways of the not self and how the not self mind seduces us away from our true path and purpose.
Yeah.
The gift is recognizing the quality of others' thinking and mental processing.
So that mental processing is huge. These open ajna, they're the ones with all the books. Now, that's just a simple statement. It's basically true. I constantly see it that way. But the thing is that's a lot because mostly they've read through some, if not all of them. It's not like they're just sitting there and only have ever collected dust like my bookshelf. If it's not my narrow interest, I'm like, I got a bookshelf, but I use these four, for now, for the last 8 years type thing. That's just how it goes. And so their constant moving around from concept to concept is what they're supposed to do. And the not self world and their conditioning takes them into, you idiot, you keep moving around from thing to thing. And people are, when you're going to fix on something, and then you have a fixed theme. And so suddenly you fix on that theme because you're part of the 52.9 that actually, well, let's subtract this out. Oh, only 10%, 9.6, huh? So 52 minus 9, 41. Yeah, so that's about 41%. Yeah, 41.3% of the people have it undefined with an activation. That activation and that thing, gives them a thing that suddenly their concepts are weighted towards. My opinion is this. I know, I know the 43 or their ideas or the all of them, the return like you have, that theme is maddening because none of it can truly be certain. You have to be able to witness what was worth being certain about. What was it that actually mattered? Open head center. If you got an open ajna, you have an open head, by the way. If you have an open ajna, you have an open head center, just by default. Not knowing what necessarily matters at the time, can't quite tell what is the interesting thing to your right now that actually is for you. And suddenly the concept zone gets skewed down this one line or two lines of gates that you have in your ajna that give it its bias. That's correct for you. As soon as you start recognizing you're not here to necessarily be certain in the now about all the new things, you're here to go through it all. And as certainties come along, you gather them, and then you can be certain about that to a point, right? The concept factory could always come up with a new concept, just like last week. And Copernicus gave way to Galileo, who gave way to Newton, who gave way to Einstein, who gave way to us now in the quantum realm of quantum dynamics and physics. When I say gave way to, we're mutated by and added to from. This gift of finally recognizing the quality of others' thinking and mental processes mean you've let go. Those others, by the way, are the books you read, the audios you listen to, the podcasts you were participating in, making notes on or not, the people you physically talk to, your partners, and your children. Don't forget to consume a great deal of wisdom from your children best you can. They have it in a different way. Your open ajna needs it. My defined ajna didn't pay enough attention unless it was down a narrow thing that lit me up. And so I missed some of the wisdoms and teachings of my children because I didn't have this knowledge yet. And, they're all, in their middle 30s at this point. So with that being the case, it's like you got to look at this like you're supposed to be open to the concept field instead of giving yourself the mental anxiety of trying to be certain, thinking you have to be certain, concerning yourself that there isn't certainty there, pretending you're certain and faking it and actually believing it only to get knocked down by it or left even more anxious a little while later when you finally realize, oh my God, I can't fully be certain about that. Think of all these ways I'm pointing out this anxiety will point in. That's not yours. And certainty is not something that's actually even valued or chased after. Certainty is BS. We're not certain about anything. Technically, very few things are we actually certain about. You're here as the arbiter that recognizes we're not necessarily certain about that. We'll find out. We're not necessarily certain. It's a toy box. We have memory over all of time, constant concepts running through. I'm a good measurer. I can measure. You want me to measure something? That's the open head center. I don't feel like measuring that. Good, not for you. Oh, I do feel like measuring that. Good, that's for you. And suddenly now you're a great measurer. And then you move on, because that's what it does. It measures, it puts things together, it juxtaposes concepts, and it holds on to memory over all of time. That's its frequency. So you don't have to worry about the certainty. You got it. Something's going to show up later to fill in the rest of the pieces. You're the demand to fill in the rest of the pieces from the openness side. Just like the defined side creates its own demand to fill in the rest of the pieces from its narrow slice that it's defined, making up the concepts in the first place. It's a fine nuance. The narrowness of my definition has me in one way becoming certain about something. And you ask me about other things, I'm not certain. I asked you about the QR code today, Moni. So I just take a link and I give it to them, and then they'll click it. Right? And I made you confirm each step would happen when you know darn well it'll happen. You've already done it. You're certain. You're certain enough within technical limits, right? And what was I? I had to get it down this one particular unconfusable path. My theme, confusion, unconfusable. That's what I had to do, and assuage all doubt. But that was one narrow path, and there you are, and you can handle that incoming from me down my narrow path, incoming from the other guy down their narrow path. All of these various things. As soon as the open Ajna is not connected to it matters that I personally am 100% certain. Let those certainty guys do it. First of all, they're wrong half the time anyways, or there's a little slight, nuance. They have to correct their stuff, so they weren't certain anyways. They just had certainty energy that sort of spoke in that way, that let itself out in that way. Good, we need that. If we're all following someone into something and everyone in the group is 100% uncertain, that group is going to be like, what way do we go? What way do we go? We need someone to at least start a little bit of certainty in brand new moments that require an opinion and a knowing and a sense of the thing. So the completely open Ajna, you're off the hook. You're off the hook. You don't got to prove anything that you know or don't know or are certain or have it all put together until you do. And your strategy and authority will tell you that. You're off the hook. Just like the open will. I don't got nothing to prove. I'm off the hook. You prove it. Time you go into court, remember, they got to prove it. You prove it. I'm off the hook. You're in big trouble, mister. Well, so you say so. Prove it. I don't got to prove it. I got nothing to prove. That type of thing.
Yeah, with the completely open ajna, I feel it's like don't try to prove your knowing, just allow yourself to explore the entire Encyclopedia Britannica, like allow yourself to take in everyone else's certainties and their knowings and what they're trying to prove, and then being the gauge of like, is this legit? Is this not? Is this? And then they could become like a super duper expert on things because they're going to take in the quality of everyone else's mental processing and be able to gauge it and then, hey, is this good or is this not?
Absolutely. And then suddenly you become the book reader of the thing. You become the acquirer of the thing. It's not like there are no thoughts. That's not what it is. It's that the thoughts are in communion and in cooperation with the inspiration field, which pressures the planet. The head center is on top. It's on top of this primary thing that conditions us in the first place: mind, toy box, concepts over all of time, memory, right? Memory over all of time. So you never forget it. Even solar plex basically lets it go. Spleen lets it go right away. Mind never lets a single thing go because it's a giant filing cabinet. It's going to be there. You just don't have to be certain in the now.
So here are our completely open Ajna celebrities, where we actually have Cat Williams again because he had the completely open head. So he's got a completely open head and Ajna. And like I said, he goes to the library and picks out like 30 books every week and just voraciously takes in all that information. And brilliant stand-up comedian also, obviously. You also have, as another comedian, you have Rodney Dangerfield, and he would think of all sorts of crazy stuff and would like even reference like how other people think about things and like poke fun at it in that way. You also have Clint Eastwood, you have Billy Connolly, and you also have Amanda Bynes, and she was a child performer like on Nickelodeon and stuff in like the 90s and 2000s, and she was really brilliant with coming. She had completely open head, ajna, and throat, so she had all sorts of interesting characters and expressions in that way.
Open to the various expressions. That combination in a Hollywood thing is terribly conditioning. I can only imagine.
The completely open Ajna Center. You could take in all sorts of information without it being fixed in any specific way. So allow yourself to take in all sorts of broad information from all sorts of different people and just enjoy taking it in without thinking that you need to prove it or, have that knowing on your own.
Think of the gift, people, the recognition and the quality that you will see in the entire inspiration field generally. You're here to see that. And so, just as a formula, rest assured, very few things and very often no things will matter at the moment. They're pouring through, and your mind is trying to tell you they do matter. Just watch that. Make a list and ask yourself, can I prove it matters? Can I prove I need to be certain? And you'll keep coming up with, not really, mostly no, totally no, hell no, you know, that's what you'll come up with. I don't know what that percentage is. I mean, I always give it high 90s. It's just most of the time and sometimes all of the time.
Next up, we have the completely open solar plexus, which is about emotional and social awareness. So, undefined is 47.1% of the population. And these people, we can be vulnerable to others' needs, moods, and feelings, but it's unhealthy for us to identify or personalize others' emotions as our own. And it may feel out of control and be perceived as emotionally unstable. It's fun. And then specifically with the completely open solar plexus, this is 8.9% of the population, and they have no way of filtering or connecting to emotional energy. And there can be confusion over feelings and how to interpret it and what does this mean? And this just feels strange. And they don't know what to desire or how to recognize others' needs or moods. And the wisdom is knowing and understanding emotional waves in their purest state and being able to recognize that they're like foreign. And the gift is perceiving the unfiltered currents of emotion without prejudice and
Mm.
trying not to attach to it. One of my besties, she has this as well, completely open solar plexus. And she once told me she had to learn long ago that she cannot give into emotional energy because it will completely like consume and destroy her because it'll just be too overwhelming and drowning. And when there are like emotional things that come up, she'll like look at me and it's like, explain. Like it's almost like robotic. Like, I don't understand what this is. Explain this emotional, like human, what is this?
Number
Um,
5 is alive. Right. That was from at least the early 90s, people. So, in case you didn't recognize it, I forgot when that movie was. I like the gift because I have an open solar plex, but I do have one theme, gate 6. And gate 6 has a fear. Its fear is of the wrong intimacy. So that's always how I'm measuring the emotional wave as it comes in. It's always, is this that bond that I need to do something about? You know what I mean? Is this even a bond? What is this? Is there's people supportive? That's my theme when the emotional solar plex gets kicked on and I find myself amplifying it uncontrollably. If it's completely open with no theme, this whole thing without prejudice, I prejudice it a little bit because I'll have a theme to go in on because it's just there as soon as I'm amplifying it. Because remember, you can't amplify it if it's not there. So in the other, the emotional solar plex, the wave hits, they are on the move on their wave. Now you're amplifying that and you guys start maybe going at it. The hard part, I'm talking about the hard part. The easy part, we all know. I mean, it's easy. The hard part is there's friction and conflict. And I have the gate of friction, and actually friction and conflict is its name. That's where emotions start. That's funny. You take that theme, I'm stuck with that theme. I'm prejudiced. Totally open emotional center. Yes, not even knowing how to feel or what to feel is terribly confusing. But when you recognize and keep looking at it, you start seeing. Seeing it fixes it because you see it and it becomes truth. And you start to emotionally get clear that truth is supreme. Truth is supreme. If it's truth, that's it. That's the end of that thing. It's true now. And you'll see that's not mine. And your friend was right to say she can't, but in its true gift state, as we awaken to our nature, it is without prejudice. That's a powerful statement. Without prejudice. That's issued in the law an awful lot. That's issued in statements people make and stuff like that, just to make it clear with prejudice or without, to get this emotional wave pouring into us and to not have to amplify it is to exist in a state of not only not knowing how to feel if you're completely open, but doing so without prejudice. Because when you don't know how to feel and the not self starts amplifying that emotional wave, you get twice as mad at the other. They get mad, you get twice as mad back. Ego can do mad too, but it's more trying to prove it and competitive and sort of some heat. This is just emotional anger in a way. Three manifesting channels, and two of them are emotional off the solar plex. So stuff is meant to drive itself into the world. And when you're completely open, you get to have this gift of none of it is mine. You don't have to discern, do I have this theme? Is that my thing? In a second, you feel emotional. If you're completely open, you get the benefit of recognizing can't be mine. Are you wound up? The only question you becomes, are you wound up right now? If you're wound up, it's not yours. It's literally the other person's, and it can't even be any other way. It's sort of a cool thing to look at so you can remember we're mentally trying to understand our designs so that we can experiment with it. Now you're open, and your openness and that student in life, which is all your definition, is now in school going and learning about this emotional openness. And suddenly, while you don't necessarily know what to feel, you're open to the other's feelings. And now you're literally meeting that definition of what every woman has ever said to me when I tried to fix the thing that she's crying about. I just need you to listen. I don't need you to fix it, right? I mean, it's an archetype of a thing, but I love you, honey. No, I know, and I just needed to say it. And here I am trying to fix it, right? That's a
Yeah.
bond. That's my emotional bond coming up, trying to say I'll bond with you to help fix
Hmm.
this. If I were completely open emotionally, maybe I would have gotten around to catching on quicker. I just need to listen. If that person is in a spot in a conditioned wave and they are not themselves and they start demanding that, can you tell what I'm feeling? I can't tell you're close to me right now. I can't tell if you can feel me. All of that stuff, that's dirty energy. And maybe you don't want to hear it. Maybe you're in love with that person. Maybe there's something like lots going on, but at the same time, that's not yours. And you're supposed to be able to answer. I'm completely open. I'm literally on yours. I love you, but I can't tell what all this is. It's not mine. So I'm just going to be here with you. And you'll tell me. And over time, my open Ajna will come up with concepts because they'll enter in. And over time, my open will that doesn't have to prove anything will feel like comforting you or bringing up the subject to get a little more out of it. My open head center will say, now it matters. I'm a pro on now it does matter because some things matter right now, just hardly anything. It's only one thing. You got 100, only one. Same thing with the solar plex. That doesn't matter. That's not yours. You just have no idea what to feel almost exclusively. Every once in a while, a transiting theme will be something maybe you're used to enough and you pick up on it and you have a sense of what you're feeling. Okay, but it's routinely just don't know what to feel at all, blank, devoid, and it leaves you feeling like, oh my God, am I even human? Am I reptile? Am I what am I normal? This person is in this way and I can't even tell what to feel. I feel like I'm just a cold slab of stone standing here and it's terribly uncomfortable. And now I feel awkward and I'm no good for this person. When the real truth is, that may be true, by the way, because if you're not self is there too, but you'll know and we'll have a laugh about it later. But the real truth is they're no good for you. Especially if you're waking up into your nature and you're seeing it and it's being demanded of you. Just remember, people, you can't hold someone's design against them. If things are demanded of you that you are not, that's not for you. Don't know how else to say that. So, and if people are seeing that in you, they're seeing you for who you're not. That's no fun. Please see me for who I am and not for who I'm not. I'd appreciate that. Not knowing what to feel is a place of power, and it's without prejudice if you let it.
Yeah, this is definitely one, and I can think of some people in my life who I know are hurting really deeply here with a completely open solar plexus. As you said, like not feeling human, even. It's like if you're not connected to human emotions, if you're in a bad place, that can take you down an even worse path. And the other thing I was thinking about is be careful to not try to make yourself desirable to other people, right? It's like that thing where Ross said it's only people that define solar plexus who are like sexy. And so if you have
Mm,
an undefined solar plexus and someone's like, "Oh, you're so sexy," it's like they don't see you, you
right.
know? And so I've seen this in somebody where completely open solar plexus and feeling very lost and not human in a sense, and then becoming really flipped into trying to be hyper desirable towards others, and it's
Mm,
gone down a very dark and scary path. So be very careful of that, of like not trying to chase another person's good emotions because they're desiring you in a not healthy, undignified kind of way. Like,
And I
don't
can
try to
promise
be the
you,
sexy one.
in that moment, I can promise you, as everything Moni just said, I can promise you, you don't know what you're really feeling at that moment anyway. So when you're doing all that stuff and that's what's happening, and you're in your experiment, you just ask yourself, do I even know what I'm doing? It's again, it's like asking yourself, can I prove that matters? Do I even know why I feel this way about this? You'll find out you don't, mostly, and that's correct. And suddenly you're freed from the shackle of having to feel any one particular way. What does that do? It makes you open to all the ways that can be felt. And just because you don't know how to feel in a new moment with somebody doesn't mean you can't take that experience and every other one of them onto a stage and perform every emotion that the world has ever wanted to see as a stunning ending to a movie. You're that character that can play them all. So realize that we're here getting done with this, so with this emotional business. We really have to lean into it. This is the closest to 50-50, and it wasn't that long ago that it was essentially 50-50, defined and undefined. It's still the closest to 50-50 of any of the centers. And so that's here to tell you we're all supposed to lean into this emotional business and get used to it, probably because it's the hardest one in a lot of ways, because it's really just so in your face when it rears up. So we all need to lean into this, folks, and not lean out.
Yeah, emotional energy, I find it has a viscosity to it. Like if you
Yep.
think of like liquid and thickness and stuff, where if somebody is in a good emotional state with the defined emotions, like it can feel like bubbly, like champagne, or like Willy Wonka when they drink the fizzy lifting drink and they go flying. It can feel like that. Whereas if someone who is emotionally defined is in a low emotional state, it can feel like drowning in molasses. It can feel like it's completely consuming and like you can't even like push your way through it because it's like tar and thick. So I totally understand avoiding emotional energy and trying to learn to not get caught up in it can be difficult.
Well, that's the theme, avoiding confrontation and truth, because the
Yeah.
confrontation is with the solar plex. That is the not self theme of open solar plex. So if you're whether you're totally open or you have themes, avoiding confrontation and truth is that not self you need to look at. It's a powerful statement that is said there. Actually, Moni, you can speak a lot to what it's like to have several activations. You've got, is it 4 activations on your solar plex?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of them on there, and it can be really challenging because I'll get so much, and it's hard to even like what is this? Drowning, go away from the overwhelmed projector, pulse wave, push
Mm,
away. Yeah, it's a lot. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. For the completely open solar plexus, our celebrities are David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, Rufus Wainwright, Lily Allen. So these are all like singers, artists, musicians. And so it's almost like what is human experience and emotion and expressing it through this way, through this completely open solar plexus and taking it in all these directions and then creating music to express it. Kate Middleton is another one. And I wonder if that's like part of her also being like, I mean, there's a lot to be prim and proper as like the future queen, but there is an almost robotic aspect to that. But she is also very sensitive to like children and emotionality in that regard. And then Ben Shapiro, who, not to get into any kind of political anything, but Ben Shapiro is interesting because he's got a completely open solar plexus. And his whole line is facts don't care about your feelings because he can't process the feelings and he's very splenically defined. So even the idea of facts don't care about your feelings is a very completely open solar plexus kind of statement. And I thought that was funny.
it is a true statement. Freddie Mercury, that's interesting. He was always chasing love. He could never find it.
So Freddie Mercury and David Bowie also have completely open identity centers, which we will get to. That's also going to be mixed into that.
Oh my God, that explains so much.
Yeah, we'll get to
Yeah.
that. Next up, we have the completely open spleen. The spleen is about health, well being, and spontaneity. For our undefined, that's 45.2% of the population. And there's like a fundamental survival fear. If you have something hanging off of it, you have, I should be afraid of this thing. And they can cling to defined spleens for security. An undefined spleen never quite feels healthy or well or good. There's always something like a little bit funny and a little bit off about us. So when we're near a healthy defined spleen, it is like I need to fill up on healthy, good splenic energy just to kind of find a balance. And undefined spleens also hold on to what is not good for them, and they can have unhealthy dependencies because it's like I might not have what I need to survive. I don't have that natural, constant flowing survival energy. So there's like an unease to hold on to that which will help us survive. And then looking at the completely open spleen, this is 9.8% of the population. And these people are unsure what to be afraid of. There's no preloaded data of which survival fear to focus on. And they can be insecure and fearful, or risky and fearless, kind of one extreme or the other. And they're open to the full range of instinctual and intuitive messages that can come in through the spleen. And they also have like no inbuilt sense of like time and timing because the spleen has that aspect to it as well. And we have some fun examples on that. And the gift of the completely open spleen is the full range of instinctual and intuitive intelligences.
Health and well-being and spontaneity are here. The defined spleen is by definition spontaneous. That's what it does. And that's important. If you see that only 10% of the planet actually has it completely open. I have an open spleen, but I have a gate 44 on it. So there's a theme there. Understand that the spleen center is the original place of fear inside the body graph. And because it's splenic safety, survival, health, and well-being fear, it's the most striking, sudden. So we call it the fear center. The other centers have fear, of course. They have the fears on each gate. We have them named, but it's the spleen that stands out. Why we call it sometimes just the fear center, because it's so sudden. And if it's now you're part of that 10% with it completely open, not even knowing what to fear. And when we talk about fear, this is intelligence fear. Don't jump off that; it's too high. That type of thing. Not even knowing, they can rush headlong into something that is dangerous. So you have to watch out for these children. If they're completely open, you'll see they just don't recognize that there's a corner on the end of the table when they keep hitting it. They'll learn, but what I'm getting at is they just don't know they shouldn't run that fast right in this spot. They just can't tell. And so you got to watch out for that. And the spontaneity is this, as they grow up, it's the not self of the open spleen is hanging on to things that aren't good for you. Yes, that is definitely it. Just as hanging on to because it makes you feel, you think it's part of what you need to be safe and you just sort of are willing to deal with it. That's already bad enough. But when it's completely open, you still have that theme and you don't even know why you're hanging on to it. You still have that theme of hanging on to things that aren't good for you. And suddenly you're willing to now make erratic, spontaneous decisions to get rid of it, to make it stop. And that's who you're not. And as you start to see it and recognize that, oh my God, I'm undefined in my spleen, so I can't rely on necessarily just being spontaneous. I truly have to rely on my strategy and authority. I'm a generator. If it's not filling me up with energy in the form of a response in the moment, what do I know? Spleen's not telling me anymore because I'm open there. The only way to get to the gift is to keep seeing it, and especially to take the things, the concepts, the things that don't matter, the people, the relationships that aren't good for you, right? The ideas, the argument you're in, it's not good for you. The conversation you're in, not good for you. Take these things that don't matter and try to not hold on to it. And you'll see, oh my God, I've been conditioned. I can't get out of this relationship. I can't let go of this job. I don't want to let go of that thing. I can't stop holding on to this notion that this idea of that. And you'll realize they're not good for me because they keep me stuck in a place. This is a hard one to learn because it's so spontaneous that when you see it, it can hit you like a 2-ton heavy thing. This is no good for me. Oh my God, I've been here for 8 years hanging on to the thing that wasn't good for me. I
Yeah.
mean, oops, right. And
Uh-huh.
so, and I've done that. Of course, I've done that. Open spleen,
Guilty
one
as
after.
charged.
Yep, guilty as wicked. So when you start seeing it, this full range of instinctual intuitive intelligence is incredible. It means we do pay attention to all the creaks and pops in our body, everything we hear. It means we're more aware of our body than the defined spleen. Defined spleen just takes it for granted, just like a defined throat takes it for granted that it'll speak or not. The instinctual, intuitive, and at times logically well giving, identified, logical understanding information, the stream of taste on the outside, that's all splenic awareness of that which is going to light us up and keep us safe. So now you're open to all of it. You make a good doctor, because if you don't have a theme, if you don't have a defined channel to it, now you're open to all the various ways in which you can listen to that other person's spleen and their sense of their health as a physician, for instance. To get to that gift, you got to be in your strategy and authority. This gift is hard fought because it's so elusive, right? We don't have touch with the spleen. This is one of the more elusive ones. We don't have touch with it until we're in with it. And why don't we have touch? Because it's spontaneously in the now, safe, not safe. It doesn't tell you why. All you can see is it tells you that it's not safe, or it's safe, or it's good or not good, or healthy or not healthy. And that's what it's doing all day long. Little noses and touchy fingers and lips and your tongue tasting, smelling, touching, gathering all the information from around your environment, safe, not safe, good, not good. If you're open, you can never tell for sure. You're experiencing it. You're allowing yourself to hear and listen through, and then coming to terms of being safe or not safe in any given moment. It's a little bit of a process. You have to allow that process. It's not just sitting there innately. And by the way, when you have a defined spleen and your safety, not safe thing is sitting there innately, you stop paying attention to it. And sooner or later, when you get sick, you get wicked sick. It's like, because you just weren't paying attention to it. I can get over that. You'll technically be the first one to just drop dead from the thing you didn't pay attention to that you really should have, because you had a defined spleen. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to see the doctor. I'm not this. The open spleen is like, no, let's go to the doc. Let's get in the books. What does Siri say about this? It's a chat GPT. What do we got? You check it. The open spleen checks it. The defined spleen only checks it. I mean, maybe because they're in that profession somehow for whatever reason, not for themselves, unless it's big. So they miss
Yeah.
so many things that if you want to see the gift, you don't miss the things that pop in the now as it relates to your intuitive instinct and your judgment about what is good or not good for yourself or the other, just sort of right now. And now, if your mind grabs a hold of that, now you can recognize, oh, this matters a little bit right now. Let's see what that is. Now you're in your experiment.
The undefined spleen is definitely like hypersensitive to the things that can cause illness. Like I know a very specific throat tickle that I feel, and I'm like, like it's coming. I know it's coming. But then I could tell. So I'm like, okay, eat some garlic, have some oregano oil, like do all these, old world holistic
Right.
kind of recipes. But because I could tell right away. And you can also then tell the health of other people. If someone's good and healthy, I want to cuddle right on up to them and like refill on their good, healthy, splenic energy. Whereas I've been around other people where I'm like, oh, this person's real sick. I got to get away. Or, oh my God, that person looks bad. I think they're going to pass away soon. They're like, oh my God, don't think that. That's a horrible thing. But then remembering, like, oh, this is a spleen thing. And then they did, like a week or so later, as an older gentleman who passed. But it can be kind of a weird thing to have an intuitive sense on someone else's health if you don't know what that is, and to be able to recognize it as something foreign than yourself.
Indeed. Get this gift because it is so capable of seeing exactly what Moni just said, basically in the now, because it's your chemistry in your body and it's delivering it to you. It's just a little bit delayed, like a second or two. You get there quickly because you're looking and you're vigilant about it if you're open, and you're supposed to be.
So, for our celebrities with completely open spleens, this is a fun list. Keanu Reeves is the first on our list, and he's an interesting one because he'll like go and hang out and talk with like homeless people and street people, and he's not afraid of them. And he'll go ride the New York City subway, even though he's like this big star. He doesn't have this sense of fear of the unknown in that way. Like he'll just go and hang out. Mr. Rogers, who is a vessel of love, we actually have the same birthday, and I love Mr. Rogers. He also, like, he wasn't afraid of people with different illnesses or people who maybe someone else would have like a prejudice towards. He would have them on the show. And he also, what's interesting with Mr. Rogers is he would take whatever time that was there that was needed to really interact and connect with these little kids that came on the show, and the producers and the show people are like, come on, we got to record the next thing. And he would not have that sense of timing. He would take all the time in the world and sit with these kids and like help them process their fears and their anxieties, and help talk them through it. So Mr. Rogers is a cool example. Morgan Freeman, and he's kind of interesting with like vocal pacing and the way he says things. George Carlin, he's brilliant, and he would talk about a lot of things like afraid of this, afraid of that. Again, with like timing and cleverness, because the spleen also has that like comedic aspect to it. Because laughing also has a thing with survival. You laugh because we survived something together, as well as timing and then like cadence in that way. Adam Sandler, another guy who's like super rich, but like walks around in basketball shorts and just hangs out and he's cool and chill with people in that kind of Keanu Reeves way. Tim Curry, another fun strange example. You also have Jennifer Lawrence, and I almost wonder with like in her earlier award show days where she'd like trip and fall and do all this goofy kind of stuff. I wonder if that kind of relates to the open spleen. And you also have Bob Dylan, which is interesting because he kept getting back together with Joan Baez, and she had a very defined spleen. And so he's almost like clinging back to her.
Yeah, yeah, hanging back on to that thing. Well, you said something interesting about comedy and laughter. The spleen is the most existential of centers, right? And the spleen and the sacral are the two truly existential centers, meaning only right now. Did right now go by? Okay, you missed it. Only right now. Laughter can only happen right now. You can't
Mm.
laugh a minute from now unless you're still laughing from the minute before when it was right now. Right?
It
You
just
can't
in the
laugh a
moment,
minute from now at
your
what I
body
just
just
said.
does it in the moment.
Yeah,
That's funny.
it just does it. So laughter, just be aware in your experiment. Laughter is an indication of recognition of truth. It's an indication of laughter proves understanding, by the way.
Laughter is the sound of comprehension.
Comprehension. Yeah, absolutely. It
It's the
proves
sound of
understanding.
comprehension.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone laughs at the joke. We understand everyone got it. And the person who didn't laugh at it, we understand they didn't get it. And we tell them, go
Mhm.
laugh at them some more. And then tell them, right? And because everyone's in on it type thing.
Mhm.
Let laughter show you that which is true, because this spleen is doesn't know what to fear, just doesn't has no concept of what to fear. It's not, has no grounding of should I fear. It's just not knowing, not even understanding or sensing or feeling that there is fear. I wrote down a couple of things. Can't quite grasp that they're supposed to be afraid, where everyone else with at least a theme or defined spleens like, dude, I mean, aren't you a little afraid of that? If enough people say something, maybe he'll get the idea. It's not like he's completely obtuse, but all on his own, all on their own, not knowing what to fear, not connected to the fear, not grounded in how, or able to, even not knowing how to act it out or even be it, not knowing what to fear. Don't know, just have no idea.
Yeah,
um,
no data.
no data on the thing. And then once you start to recognize that, you become a pro. Maybe I should fear this a little bit. Because remember, fear rips through in a New York second, spleen, right? Moment to moment. And it guarantees, if you listen to it, it's your survival. Now you're open to all the things that lead to your survival. You're open to the fact that everyone else can now know through your expression what that might mean. And you got nothing to prove here. There's nothing that you have to, I don't have to hold on to that. You better hold on to me. I think I want to hold on to you, but that's my not self. I don't need to hold on to you. Now you're off the hook. You don't have to hold on to it anymore, because that's what this thing does. It gives itself a sense of safety by creating a thing. Let me hold on to my husband who's abusing me as an archetype of an example. I can't leave him. No, he's just, I mean, that's hard. I get it. Don't want to leave,
Yeah.
but there's many more mundane things, not quite that big. Stop.
It's a
you're
good
not quite.
example though. Like
Yeah,
I've been in
it's
those
archetype of an example. Yeah.
yeah, no, I've been in those relationships where it's like you're just stuck with this person and you know it's bad and you're trying to get away and you're screaming and yelling and trying to break up and it's like you're so ready on never seeing this person again because it's horrible and super bad. And then if you get sucked into the aura again and then you're like in it. So it's like if you need to break up with someone, do not get back into their aura. Like just don't do it. Have someone else pick up your stuff. Whatever you got to do, don't get back into that aura because you will get sucked back into it. It is a hard way out when you have the undefined spleen and you're with someone who has a defined spleen and you just feel stuck.
And if you're a little bit of a thrill seeker and you've been in your experiment for a little while, go get right back into the aura and watch yourself walk right back out of it again, as difficult as it was, and you will know. I don't suggest you do that though, but I
Not
would.
with a bad relationship, maybe with a friend that you like to kind of cling to. Like be make good choices with who you're playing your human design experiments with. And in general, if you have the undefined spleen, whether open or hanging gates, don't be spontaneous because we're not good at that.
Right, right, exactly. And there's plenty of things in there that will take you into the things where spontaneity is called for, by the way. A, you're open to it. And B, there's plenty of things. You got a response and spontaneously you guys are doing something. That's great. You'll see. But you didn't have to hold on to it is the thing. The other last thing I can think about the spleen, and it was probably inherent in all of these people on the right, was just this: if you're open, you're always doing little. At this point, I don't come on air until I've ran and got my mint leaf and I got to put it on my tongue because I noticed my little pH in my mouth or my thing. I had a mint leaf before we went on. I love it. I start growing mints and I have things and you'll notice you'll grow a plant because you need the thing. It's you've got all these little medicinal things for yourself is the point I'm trying to make. And little oils you put in a thing and you're making dinner. Oh, I better put in this a little less salt this time. You're paying attention. The defined spleen is like, that was too much salt, but I'm hungry. You know, and the undefined spleen is, oh no, get it out of there. You know what I mean? Do something about it. So let me burn my incense. Let me get my thing. I got to get this right. Let me do the thing. Undefined spleen has all these wisdoms. It becomes that intelligence and it's instinctual, intuitive. You didn't have to work at it too hard. It sort of just keeps showing up
You
on
just
when
develop
to,
a library of all your little things that are going to make it nicer.
yeah. And so you're supposed to do that. So please do. Right? You're
Cool.
supposed to do that. You're not a freak. You're not worried about every last little thing. Spleen is just open and you'll find out when it's too much. Oh God, I'm going too far with this. It's like I don't have to have it at 3 every single day, these 2 drops of oregano oil and a glass of tea. It's just you'll see. But
No,
experiment with it.
next up, we have the identity center, which is love, identity, and direction. When this is undefined, which is 43.5% of the population, there's an inconsistent sense of identity, and they tend to blend in and adapt with others and can fit in anywhere or nowhere. And they're here to be initiated into many ways of being. And always remember, if you're in the wrong place, you're with the wrong people. When the identity center is completely open, which is 7.7% of the population, there's no clear personality and no clear sense of direction. And they can feel like they're afloat or unsure of themselves, unsure where to go, who they are, and they often turn to others to direct and affirm them. They can be vulnerable to manipulation and conditioning dictates from others. And the gift is having a broad experience and a comprehension of the nature of being, self love, and the way we are designed to move through life.
This is a good one because it is love and direction. And the not self theme of an open identity center, be it have an activation or be it completely open. Am I still looking for love and direction? Am I confused about love and direction? And these words, love and direction, turn into a lot when you start, rolling it around in your tongue. You'll see you come up with a lot of verbiage for love and direction for yourself. And that becomes a theme that isn't you. So this gift, which we'll get to in a second, becomes this beautiful capacity to find the right place. Having said that, I have a defined identity center, and I had to do just as much work as it related to I love me, because I had to convince the old conditioned definition that wasn't quite operating right to slow down and recognize.
And also that sense of, can you love me when I'm stuck in this defined way? Like, I
Right,
am who I am. I'm not going to change into someone else. Can you love me as who I am? Because I can't change
right.
it. So
Good one,
there's,
Moni.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
There's lovability issues for everyone,
for
just different
everyone. Well,
expressions.
it
Yeah.
is. The lovability issue when you're open and with a theme or not is just I can't find it. It's something's missing. I seek it.
How can you love me if I'm amorphous? How can you love me if I'm not a set thing and I can change and I don't know who I am and I don't know where I'm going? How can you love that? I would
I want to
imagine.
know what love is, comes out of this
I want
openness.
you to tell me.
Yep, that's
Sorry.
right. I mean, I mean that's the deepest of the not self of this. Because the truth of the matter is, the defined G center knows what it is for themselves when they peel away the layers of the conditioning and the homogenization. And the open one gets to experience it not only with themselves, but they get to experience it in the other. And when those two things align, they're generally in the right place. There's a statement Ra would always point out: if you're not in the right place, you're not with the right people. And that's written on here clearly. Now that becomes something you can actually count on. Are you feeling antsy? Does it not quite feel right there? You start not being with the right people, and that goes both ways. If you're not with the right people, it's going to make not the right place, even if it's your kitchen and a bunch of people are over, and suddenly it doesn't feel right. You're wicked sensitive to the need to be with the right place at the right time. You're wicked sensitive to be with the place that feels love to me, that feels powered to move in a direction, that feels it's not too extreme, it's not too boring, that feels all the things that are the themes of this G center. And the biggest one being, I'm in the right place and this seems to be the right time. And as soon as you have that feeling, it's up to you in the experiment to start to recognize, oh my God, I do love me. And the thing is, this is a hard one because in the beginning, sometimes you have to fake it to make it. But if you have a completely open identity center, G center, you start with a mantra that just says, I love me. No, I wicked do love me. And the very first times you hear it come out of your mouth, you might not fully believe it. It might feel unnatural. And if it does, then my instruction to you is good, repeat and keep repeating that like for the next, 6 or 7 months at least. Just keep saying it to yourself. It becomes normal. And then suddenly it helps align. You're already in your experiment. It aligns this open identity center to recognize I'm the arbiter of the right place and the right time in my life, all the way around. And whatever direction we're moving in, I'm aware that that keeps me in a right place or not. This is a good direction. It takes me out of my right place, not a good direction. That's what you become so wise on. This broad experience and comprehension of the nature of being is our nature of being with our love of ourself, moving in a direction towards more beauty with others, shared. That's this overall keynote thing that you could place right on to this G center. Now you have a clear capacity to have a comprehension of all of that and the true nature of being because you're open to each and every gate and the whole aspect of what is identity, the liver, the home of the magnetic monopole, the home of that thing that guides us and directs us onto and hooks us onto the nodes in our body graph. This is the link that connects us to our nodes in our body graph. So we know damn well we must love something because we keep moving in a direction either towards it or away from it. And if you're moving away from it, not good. Recognize you move towards the place where you feel good. It just feels like the right place. So allow that sense this isn't the right place. Yeah, you're right. Leave. Doesn't mean you can't find your way back there tomorrow. Maybe it is a good place, to go have lunch or something like this. Just didn't feel right now.
Yeah, it's really cool with undefined identities overall, but the completely open identity, it's like they're here to try all the different ways of living and being and existing in the world. They're here to like have the buffet of these people live like this and these people live like this. They're the undefined identity people. They're all the travelers. They travel around to all these different places and where the wind takes them, and they get to experience all these different ways of living and being and loving and all the good stuff. And so use that to your benefit, as like Danny's saying, it's like this is a gauge. Is like, is this the right place for you? Is this the right way of being and loving? Is this the right direction? And it's funny, people with completely open identities, it's like I have a friend and she has no sense of direction or where she is. Even if it's her favorite restaurant and she's been there a million times, she needs to GPS it. And it's just like this funny thing where it's like you don't get locked in the same way a defined identity does. Because it's like a defined identity, it's like a streetcar or a bus that is going on this specific route, going from downtown to uptown, going downtown to uptown. That's where I'm going. And when it's an undefined identity, they get to hop on the bus and, hey, do I like how this bus is driving and where it's going? Cool. If I don't like it, this is a weird part of town, they're going to jump off and they could jump onto someone else's bus line that's going to another set place because it's a set route when it's defined.
Yeah, absolutely. A cool thing to notice is I consider this center important as it relates to the gates that are pointing at it when it's open, not when it's defined. When it's defined, it's like the rest of the centers, but when it's open, undefined, whether there's themes or not, completely open. If gate 14 is pointing at it, in order to find your identity and prove your love of yourself in the right place, you're going to work too hard. You're not going to stop. 29 off the top of the sacral, same thing. You're going to get into these commitments that aren't necessarily right for you, and you're going to have lots of anxiety about, is it the right one? Is it putting me in the right place? And you're going to go back and forth, and you're going to break most of those commitments as a not self being, as someone who's not following strategy and authority. Identity pointing at the sacral pointing at gate 10, right? Potentially with gate 34, you got to look at that theme because the identity is going to want to look where it can have power and move towards and become. So, because it's such a sensitive place, this is our compass, our locator, our director towards. And it's so important. It houses, I mean, just take this in. It houses only two incarnation crosses. It's the only home where a full incarnation cross is wholly in one center. Is that true?
What's
Is
that?
there another center that houses the entirety of any incarnation cross?
Just
That's
the
what I thought.
identity center with the vessel of love and the Sphinx. Yeah.
So, and then if that's not enough of a coincidence, it's important. Now, obviously, this was an important center that it worked out this way. It houses the two incarnation crosses that peg out the wheel, that set the wheel is the thing. They set the wheel in its particular place to let the rest of the genetics work out. It divides the wheel in its even 8 different parts. I think it's the only center with only 8 gates in it as well. It's very unique. We got sevens, we got nines, we got an 11, we got a 3, we got a 6 and a 4,
Bingo.
and one, and yep, and 1 8.
Sorry.
It's so funny, Moni. While I'm doing that, my head is I'm witnessing it in my head is the thing. I'm counting. That's why my
And,
eyes always go up. I'm counting.
and I'm just a class clown. You
It's
ready for our celebrities?
yeah, let's see these guys.
These are some good ones. So, our celebrities with completely open identity centers, we have David Bowie and Freddie Mercury, which is absolutely ridiculous because both of them, it was like, who am I? Who am I and what am I going to be? Like, David Bowie had all his different personas. Like, he had Ziggy Stardust and Aladdin Sane and the Great White Duke, and he had all these different, like, identities and personas that he played into. And which one was he? Like, all of them and none of them. He was the exploration of these identity centers. And like Freddie
But he
Mercury,
was the same. He was changing his way over and over again. And his
he
pageantry was off the hook.
Oh yeah. And the other interesting one with Freddie Mercury is there's a video clip you can find it of like him in the recording studio and he was trying to explain to the drummer what he wanted the rhythm to be and how to do it. And it's like he was gauging the direction of where this drummer would take the song and he was like, "No, it's like ba da ba ba ba." And that's like he no, he's like, "That's not it. That's not it." And the drummer kept doing it until finally like the drummer understood the direction that Freddie was perceiving and where he wanted to take it. And you could see in this clip, he's like, yes, that is it. That is it. Like his open identity was gauging where the drummer was going to take them, and he needed it to be the right place.
That's amazing.
I know. I thought that was a cool one. You could see now we have different actors, a couple comedians, but there's almost like a blank slate. Like Tom Hanks has a very blank slate kind of guy who can then like be these different types of characters. Drew Carey is like another one with his like Buddy Holly glasses. Like he's kind of very plain. Bryan Cranston is a really, really cool example. He's the guy who was the dad in Malcolm in the Middle, and he would go to all these crazy places and do all these wild and hilarious things. But then he was also in Breaking Bad. And the whole thing with Breaking Bad was you're watching this mild mannered, nerdy, awkward chemistry teacher completely transform his entire identity into like, drug lord, kingpin, crazy guy. And so Bryan Cranston having completely open identity, he could fully express that range. Like he wasn't, Walter White. He's not that evil, but he's playing in that actor space of the full range of that, huge shift. There's also Kate Middleton, so open identity, who could then like step into the identity of princess and eventual queen and can play into that. Matt LeBlanc, Steve Carell, Jimmy Fallon, all these kind of comedians, and they kind of have this blank slate aspect to them, but then they can go in all these silly directions.
Jimmy Fallon always shows this amazing surprise at wherever he is in his show when he does his late night show. Doesn't matter who comes on, he's always newly surprised at how he is where he is type thing. It's like
How
it's
did
what
I
I
get
notice
here?
in his face, in his way, and it's cool. And then he goes with it. It's always I'm going with what's here, you know.
But these are like really fun examples, I think, to kind of show the range of the completely open identity. And you actually see it like undefined identities. You can see it a lot with a lot of actors and actresses, and just the completely open. It's like the Tom Hanks thing. There's just kind of this blank slate, and then he can play this range of roles from there.
I'm looking at Tom Hanks. Yeah, I'm just realizing that huge range of roles. He could be anybody.
Now we are at the root center. So the root center is about physical adrenalized pressure. It's the go energy to start something. So undefined, this is 39.6% of the population, and they absorb stress from their environment and rush to resolve unresolvable pressure. This can result in hyperactivity, restlessness, and an inability to focus. It's like, do another thing, do another thing, do another thing, this. Then the completely open center, which is 5% of the population, there's a lot of rushing and hurrying, but neither understanding nor recognizing the pressure. They're just kind of lost in it and unsure how to use pressure productively. And they can collapse in on themselves in stage fright or panic attacks, or even probably like get a really big buzz and almost kind of get like addicted to it in a
High
sense.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
get a high on it. And the gift is recognizing when it is healthy to engage with pressure.
Yeah, when it's healthy to have the right stress. The root center is the home of stress. That adrenalized pressure creates an actual stress. That's its job. And we all live in a stress field. We have to stress things. Just to stand upright, all our muscles are stressed a little bit to keep us standing. You know what I mean? So the environment truly is actually a stressed environment. It's just how much of that stress. We
And how
like it
much
to
our
be,
bodies can handle it, because our bodies need to be able to be stressed in order to push them to develop and build. But it's
yep.
like, where is that range of how much stress the body can take? And you want to kind of like push it a little bit to make it stronger, but not push it to the point of overwhelm and like breaking it.
When is it too much is the thing. If 40% are just undefined, leaving 35%, with those numbers, you can see that a very small percentage have it totally open. And the reason we're getting to smaller and smaller percentages is because we're getting to more and more gates on a center.
Possibility.
Yeah, so just
There's a
more
greater potential.
possibilities for activation just by sheer numbers. Is that my pressure? Am I in a hurry to be free of the pressure? Do I feel like I'm under too much pressure? Does the pressure never stop? Do I leave the pressure in my life all the time? Am I constantly dealing with a stressed out pressure zone of a life and a feeling and a way? Am I always moving too quickly? I like to give the example, am I trying to use the remote starter to turn on the car while I'm stirring my coffee to save seconds and shutting the fridge door with my left foot? Just because I can do all those things at the same time, ish.
Oh
Because
my
I'm
God.
still a little bit of coffee. I slammed the door a little too hard and I popped the trunk instead of started the car
And then you stub your
accidentally.
toe and fall down the stairs.
And I stubbed my toe and I spilled it all and I got to start all over.
And then you got to change
Stress.
your shirt.
Now I got to change my shirt too. Right. Thank you, Moni. Yeah. Right. Right. Just yes. Yes. And wipe it off my glasses. Am I in a hurry to be free of the pressure is what the not self voice of this is. So you have a theme on there. Those are going to be themes that start showing up in why there's stress and pressure in your life in the first place. It's not just how you're dealing with it, it's also why. But you're still open because you just have a few themes. You get to become wise on, hey, that's not my pressure. I'll deal with the pressure I want to deal with. And the themes of those pressures that you feel like dealing with, because let's face it, a little bit of stress is fun. You ever date someone for the first time? It's not exactly smooth sailing. There's stress there, right?
A little bit.
But Well, but we all have hopes and stuff, and you never know, and you know what it's like, and so we need the stress. We need to be in the stress field. It's healthy for us to have a certain amount. Is it the right pressure for me? Is the question. And the wisdom becomes knowing the right way to engage with that pressure and stress zone. Adrenaline, this thing that makes us move. So if you're completely open and you don't have a theme, you know, you don't even necessarily know what pressure to take on. And suddenly, just like the open head center, there's only two pressure centers. This is the one at the bottom that pushes everything to the throat. And the head center is the one at top, pushing everything down to the throat. All roads lead to this throat. Even up the center of the body graph, they're all heading for the throat. There's two examples of where it's not that: the centering circuit and the defense circuit. Everything else, and the tribal circuit, but is heading to the throat by proxy because it goes through the 45. It's heading there. So everything in roads runs to the throat. You can't help it. And the pressure center from below is doing the same thing the pressure center on top is doing. Top is thinking about things that don't matter. Bottom is pressurized with things that don't matter.
Do stuff that doesn't matter.
Doing stuff that doesn't matter, feeling like you have to do something, or so overwhelmed that you're doing nothing because there's too much to do, just like too many things, thinking about too many things. And I'm in a hurry to be free of this pressure. Are you under pressure to get rid of the pressure? Because they said we're leaving in 5 minutes. Are you suddenly under more pressure? And now you've actually started 2 or 3 things you shouldn't have even started that are going to definitely take you more than that 5 minutes because you're under pressure to make sure every last thing. And if you're completely open, that can overwhelm you. Overwhelm. And because not knowing, having no idea, love my little keynotes here, not knowing, not understanding, not having a sense of, can't tell what the feeling is, can't even grasp, can't quite
No
grasp
data.
what is too much. No data, no data. So everything's
Cannot
coming in.
compute. No data.
Cannot
Cannot
compute.
compute.
Sending in corrupted information from a not self world. Guess what? That's what I'll be dealing. That's how I'll be dealing. It'll be, the outcome will be very clear. You can see it from a mile away. Someone watching in will say, "Oh, geez, look what just came in. I can see what this cat's going to do." You know, because they're going to react to that pressure until the moment in aura with another is important to do, but by yourself. The moment by yourself, you start recognizing the mantra here. And folks, these mantras are so you can cast a spell on yourself and create the magic that Moni and I have done for ourselves. And I'm not even kidding. You are casting a spell by using the mantra words, just and change the words up if you want. You'll come up with your own creative things. These aren't written in stone, but they're true. That's not my pressure. It's not, none of it is your pressure. Even if you're under pressure, it's still not yours. You're just dealing with it. So the moment you start realizing, oh my God, every time I brush my teeth, my whole body is tense. I can't try to relax brushing your teeth, the rest of your body.
God, I wish.
You just try so you can see, oh, the feeling of adrenaline keeps your muscles a little bit tight. Just like it's just and shifting and just whatever the thing is, and looking at the clock and wanting to get out of here, that type of thing, or wanting to get over there, or not wanting to go there. All that pressure, it's not yours. So you start recognizing it. I'm just sitting still. Why are my tummy muscles tightened? As if I'm holding position. Because the spleen is adrenaline. Adrenaline is there to not only keep us safe, but to fight if need be and hold your position. So it's there to keep your musculature tight and drive blood away from your brain and drive it away from your digestive system into your musculature. So tight, tight everywhere. And so just witness that and then witness it in cooperation with another, in aura to another. And finally, you're under stress pressure. The defined root comes into the room and suddenly you feel like you have to do something like I'm supposed to do something, and you recognize it's not your pressure, and then you're doing something with that person and they're trying to hurry you up, and then the moment comes where you realize it and you say, oh sweetie, I'm not in a hurry because that's actually not my pressure, that's yours. If that person loves you, they won't bite your head off. If they love you enough and bite your head off, they'll stop biting it off later and they'll have a laugh with you about it. You know what I'm saying? That's okay too. I did that to a dear friend of mine. She bit my head off, and it took a couple hours for me to just say, I kept saying, you're going to laugh about this later. We will be laughing about this later.
God, and
And,
I'm
but the
sure she was
moment,
more irritated every time you said that.
oh yeah, well, I don't care. You're going to laugh about it later. A demanding nature that succeeds despite its demanding nature, Moni. That's reading one of my lines. It wasn't mine, and I remember I was so excited because I realized I could say it at the time. I'm like, I'm saying the thing, and 2 seconds later, it's coming out of my mouth. And it wasn't my pressure. And it was a big pressure. We were at an airport trying to catch a flight. We might miss it. Still not my pressure. That's yours. I'm going to mosey as quick as I can, but it's not mine. She F bombed me this and this and that. And in the moment, I was like, I see you're very mad at me. I'm Mr. Rogering. And it did. It annoyed to no end. So angry. But we got on the flight. We made it with 12 minutes to spare. 12 minutes to spare. We walked in. I was like, what's the problem? We're here. We're relaxed. The engines aren't even on yet. We're in, bags are there, and 5 minutes later we're taking off. And I realized that's not good planning. I get that, Moni. I understand. That's on me for making it so that way, but it's not my pressure. It wasn't mine. And when I recognized that, I started to mosey. And now I could run. We were like, hey, let's go a little faster. And so we started moving a little faster, but I'm not doing it under pressure. I'm doing it under sacral. Yay, we're moving. Da, da, da.
I'm
And everything,
responding.
I'm responding, and everything was yay after that moment, free of pressure. I've never given myself such a gift. I couldn't believe it. And by the way, folks, this root is one of the hardest ones because it's just so pervasive. It's so pervasive. Don't think you're getting rid of that pressure tomorrow. You got to start seeing it. You have to start seeing it and then come to the day where you're like, that's not my pressure. Because that's the mantra. That's not my pressure. It's not mine.
Yeah, the root is the never-ending to-do list. And oh,
Yeah.
I got to do this thing. Okay, do this thing, do this thing. And it's like if
A
you can just like
multitasker.
the multitasker, it's just like if you can at least pause, pull away from the to-do list just for a minute, just to like give yourself a minute out of getting stuck in it. Take a minute, lay down, do whatever you got to do. Like that's the best way I have kind of found to try to deal with it and not get so overrun by it is just also turn it into like I need to discharge sacral energy, so I'm going to go be horizontal kind of thing.
That day that I was able to experience the recognition and the speaking of it out loud to another in real time, I recognized the deep health and energetic assist I get from, and I've never not seen it after that. That's the thing. Because it is so potent. It's this adrenal right now, part of panic, right? Adrenals, panic is good when you need to panic. There's a bear, run or close the door, whatever, right? I mean, we need,
Just
right?
imagine door, it's like the bear knocking on the door.
Yeah,
Excuse
right.
me, sir. Let me back
Right.
in.
You open your door, close your door. Oh, look. Oh, close the door. That pressure, it's so immediate and it's just it's outside of mind. You know what I mean? We have a hard time even making sense of it because it's so far down in the other zones in our body and it's the bottom pressure facing upward. And so it's innate, it's sitting there and it's not yours if you're open. And if you're open with no themes, it's totally not yours. And you're not even supposed to have to recognize what to do, except your strategy and authority will tell you in that moment what to do or not do or what have you. But the pressure's not yours. And the part of the wisdom is what pressure is worth it? What stress is worth? Some stress is fun, like going out on a date if you really want to, and suddenly you just wanted to. And pressure, stress, what do I wear? Hey, that was right for you. Go for it. Get lost in a little bit. Recognize all your muscles are tight. Oh my God, loosen them up, relax a little. You'll see, oh my God, I'm going through this thing. I just went through 20 things in a checklist. I tried to relax, I got tense again. I got tense again, I tried to relax. And allow yourself to rip through this all the while, reminding yourself of the physical, adrenalized truth. It's not your pressure. You did not put that there. It was placed there from the outside world and by the other and by the circumstances. It's not yours. Relax your muscles. It's not your pressure.
You ready for our celebrities?
Let's see which one of these crazy guys has all the ADHD. This a home of ADHD is this open root center. Not the only home, but I mean a big one.
It's a big one. So, our celebrities with completely open roots. We have some fun examples. So, we have Bill Burr. He's a stand-up comedian, and if you watch him, you could see he's constantly on edge. Like it's his
Yep.
personality, and it's kind of his shtick, but it's also just his personality, which is just like really on edge, meh, kind of guy. And then
Always
on the
trying to
flip,
get through the thing. Honey, why don't you take the easy way? Let's get through the thing. Always trying to
mm,
get it done because you think it
uh,
gets rid of the pressure. Lots of his jokes are about that. He's funny.
Oh, that's a good add-on to that. Compare that to Joe Rogan, also a stand-up comedian, but he's done so much with like martial arts and jujitsu and all that kind of stuff, where I feel like he's learned to deal with the pressure and angle it and use it in that mixed martial arts jujitsu kind of way. And he is more steady with it, even if I'm sure he probably struggled with that more when he was younger and how much martial arts probably helped him with it.
Yeah, I guarantee you there's moments at home when the kids and the wife put the pressure on for something and suddenly he's right back in it. He would say at times, I'm religious about getting to the gym at 5 a.m. or whatever his time was. He's a freak about it, and he's just a pure generator, as I recall, hitting the ball, working out in the gym, he's just doing the same thing. That's good for him. But that's probably to relieve,
The
to run
pressure.
out the stress. Yep.
That makes sense. Billy Crystal, another fun example, kind of works with your, like you just said, like kind of ADD and this thing and this thing, and what about this and what about this and what about this? Like that's
He's
so
always
part of,
talking so fast. Yeah. And he
yeah.
played that part everywhere he went.
Oh yeah, and he always had more things and more like ad-libbed kind of stuff in his
Yep.
movies that like even there's like a scene where he was just like ad-libbing in When Harry Met Sally, and you can see what is it, Meg Ryan, where she
Yep.
looks at the director of like, what the hell is this? Because I wasn't prepared for it. But yeah, he's always popping in another thing. Jack Black, you can super see it, like he's always running around and trying this crazy thing and running across the stage and doing this crazy thing. So he's
It's
popped up
wicked excitable. It's just the open root. And if it's connected to a generator, it's so wickedly fast and excitable. It's like connect this to a manifesting generator, and you've just got instant action all over the place. It won't stop.
Kanye West is another interesting one because it's almost like acting too quickly under pressure, like jumping on stage when Taylor Swift won whatever Grammy or whatever it was. He's like, I'm gonna let you finish, but I need to pop in and like interrupt and do this thing. So this like sense of impulsive action and just being taken away with it. And like, I gotta do it. Hang on, I'll let you finish, but I gotta go first. I gotta get rid of this pressure before you do your thing, kind of thing. Madonna, I feel like she would be our example that not stage fright or panic attacks, but probably gets like a high off of being on stage and like taking in that adrenaline and probably would it would
It's
tantamount
not
to an
outside the
unhealthy
norm.
way.
Yep.
Yeah, but I feel like she took it in a weird direction. And then you have Sinead O'Connor. For those who
Indeed.
remember, she was around in like what like the 80s or 90s, and she was the one who kind of like probably pretty impulsively like ripped the picture of
Ripped
like
up
the
a picture
Pope
of the
on
Pope. Yep.
SNL or whatever, and it like ruined, and everyone was super mad at her. An impulsive act that I'm sure she felt very like sure in. But I feel like that could be like, we got to do this, we got to fix this problem now, and I got to make a stand kind of energy.
In a pressure to finish the thing because you think it will relieve the pressure, when the truth about life is the next thing is always right behind it. There's always the next thing right behind it. And with this open route, if you don't see it working that way and you don't see how that's affecting your life, each next thing becomes the thing you're trying to hurry to get done. And you wonder why you're always tired. It's called adrenal fatigue. You're fatiguing the adrenals in your body ever so predictably and steadily. And so you're going to run out of energy quickly, no matter how many channels you have touching that sacral of yours. If you're a generator, and if you're not a generator, of course you're going to anyway. So the recognition of what to engage in is so right. And I can see this. And I do like that with Joe Rogan. You're right. I'm thinking, Joe, he's pretty calm about stuff, but that's because he just lifted a collective reps to equal,
5 tons or
50
something.
50,000 pounds type
Yeah.
thing. By
And
the
his
time he's done doing all
trained
them reps, yeah.
Yeah, and has trained with the martial arts, which is about like controlling your energy and not acting too quick, being smart about your movements and not being impulsive. Like
Mhm.
that's very martial arts. We have a question from Leah. She said
Hey,
she
hi,
was
Leah.
Hi, Leah. I'm assuming Greg is around, so hi. I was thinking this would be an ADHD center, as you mentioned. Where else is? And so I said, like, definitely the root because it's that adrenalized, like, do this, then do this, then do this,
A
then do
lot of
this. But
places.
I imagine a lot of them could show up because it's kind of a erratic focus kind of thing.
The head center to the Ajna channels can seem like it, especially the 63, the 6447. 3420 will
Oh,
appear
yeah.
as ADD or
Oh, yeah.
ADHD. Yeah,
What
why
about
not?
this?
Why
What about
wouldn't
this?
it?
What about this?
Busy, busy. What are you busy? I'm busy, busy, busy. Some
I
of
could
the
feel
outer
it.
experiential crash wave stuff might see a little bit out there, but that's a little different. I don't know, 5125, maybe not so much, but a little bit. I don't know.
I could see.
Individual definition for sure.
Yeah, and then I could even see it because I have a completely open throat, which is one of the next couple that we're gonna hit up because it could be so many different influences, so I could feel like I'm all over the place.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I feel like I can pop up in a few different ways. Next up, we have the sacral center, which is the power of fertility and vital energy. Undefined is 34.2% of the population, and these people are sensitive to energy levels in people and places, and they tend to overextend with borrowed energy, which causes breakdown and exhaustion, and they don't know when enough is enough. There's not like, I'm done working on this now. It just can get caught, keep going, and they don't know when to establish healthy boundaries, and they're always busy and never know when to quit. And then the completely open sacral, this is 3.8% of the population. They don't know what to use their energy for, and their own energy is scattered everywhere. And they can have inappropriate or excessive activity, and it takes the overwhelm to finally stop them. And the gift is truly measuring life force and gaining the wisdom of what energy is for.
Yeah, and what it is really supposed to generate, and when you're supposed to generate energy towards a thing. Because the sacral is not simply just an energy, it's an energy towards a thing. Even the channel of concentration has the taming power in gate 9, whereas only gate 52 is a thing that sits still. No, sacral doesn't really sit still, even in gate 5. Waiting as an aspect of enlightenment, the gate of fixed patterns, where it's moving towards joy, frankly, as it relates to its fifth line. And you're looking at having to find a pattern. That thing is still actively sustained at trying to find out what it's supposed to do. So when it's open, you totally don't have a full concept of if you have sustained at something for too long. Have you been going at it too hard? Is it something that you can't seem to put down? And it's not like an open spleen can't let go of it. And it's not a hunt for love and direction. And it's not even necessarily trying to prove anything. It's just can't stop doing the thing because it started to amplify. Again, the sacral has a voice, but that voice is the generator's voice. It comes in grunts and groans and aha and sighs and expressions and movements. And if you're a manifesting generator, it comes in language and words and grunts and groans and moving and everything else. If you're open sacral, you don't quite have that. You just have the too much of not knowing when enough is enough. And it's with everything. I'm in this argument too long. I'm on this concept too long. I'm finding too much importance on this and I'm trying to convince everyone else of it. But I don't know when enough is enough about all of that. I become pushy. I become cranky. I become irritable. I start to see the themes. If you have an open sacral, then you're one of the other 3 types, not a generator. So you're starting to see the themes of needing rest and needing to balance out where your energy does go and use it strategically. I was saying this in the very beginning. The open sacral becomes wise on exactly when to sprint, exactly when to marshal up the energy that is now working, because it's not like the manifestors, reflectors, and projectors don't do stuff. You do tons of stuff, usually more than the generator. It's just that you do it at specific times, respecting of the fact that you don't have the sacral motor. So you have to measure the up and down of your energy. And when it goes low, you have to stop. And then when you honor yourself that way, you're able to start back up much quicker as it comes back around and comes back up. So you're on a cyclical wave of getting stuff done. And the trick is you don't beat yourself up when you're on the down wave and it's time to rest and lay horizontal and sort of just chill out for a little bit. And when it's completely open, you just have no concept of like even getting into too much. If you have a theme, you've got a concept. This may or may not be too much. Apparently, I'm in it. Okay. And then when you don't have a theme, any activations and a totally open sacral, and you're part of this very small percentage, getting smaller, which is imagine what the throat is. It's got to be 2 something at that point, whereby you have 3.8% that have it totally open. You've lost track on even when you're getting into something that is going to be too much. You didn't even have a way to gauge that. When on the other side of that, as you start to wake up and see it, and the seeing it corrects it and kills the conditioning, you start to have this gift and this amazing thing that open centers are supposed to be. And if it's totally open, the gift truly becomes the life force wisdom. What is generating and manifesting all about? How much of it should I do? How much of it does the other do? When is this thing not even working right? When have I gone too far? What's worth going too far on? Every once in a while, it's worth it to sort of push yourself a little bit so you can find those boundaries. It's an experiment, right? And so in the experiment, you push it a little bit and you see, oh God, that was too much. But now you're watching it. And when you're totally open, you get all this wisdom of every single gate in there. oh my God, I know what I like to focus on. I know what I like to hold into a fixed pattern. I know where I like to release my power. I get this commitment. I know where I like to do the work. I certainly am going to care about this at this time. I'm going to spend my time. And you become wise on doing all the things that are keynoted in that 9-gate center called the sacral center. 9 gates, each of those keynotes is rather important and it's pretty cool. And if you read those keynotes and say, oh my God, I'm good at where I'm supposed to do this, and I'm going to get wise on where this is actually healthy for me, then you become wise on what is the totality of a completely open sacral. Collect the wisdom or suffer. So we're giving you the wisdom. Please don't choose to suffer. Bring yourself in for a reading and let us read you deeply and get into all of these beautiful little things so you can see your way and this incarnation cross and the thing that you are, and you'll stop losing track of when enough is enough, getting bitter and angry and lashing out and doing all kinds of things that happens to you guys. I say you guys because I'm a generator, so it's you guys get into when you truly have lost track of when enough is enough.
Who are you calling you guys?
You people,
You people.
you people, you.
Yeah, me. So there's some fun ones on this list. So for our completely open sacral celebrities, well, we have the founder of human design, the whole system, Ra Uru Hu, which makes sense because I mean the gift is truly measuring life force, and the wisdom is what energy is for. So I
Mm.
think Ra did a pretty good job at translating what energy is for and measuring life force energy and helping us understand it as well. Nicolas Cage is another completely open sacral. You can see in his acting, he doesn't know what to use the energy. The energy is scattered everywhere. It can be this excessive activity. He also has a completely open throat, which we'll get to on the next slide. But you can kind of see there's an erratic kind of aspect to it. Frank Lloyd Wright, the architect, is kind of interesting to find out he has a completely open sacral, but seeing it in terms of how he built things. And he was so innovative in how he built things and like how people use energy and what you can do and how you can build. Sacral energy is about building and generation and building in a whole completely different way from the complete openness. Osho is another interesting one, the like guru guy from India, and then what he had in Oregon. Was it Wild Wild Country? The Netflix documentary was all about like the Osho cult, and it's super, super wild and fascinating. He was this like meditation guru guy who had this huge following. One of the differences with him is a lot of like these gurus would like renounce wealth, and he was like, no, 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 let's meditate and also bring in obscene amounts of wealth and resources and things. His stuff is really interesting until it gets like really dark and weird because they would have these like crazy meditation things where you like completely release all of your energy and you make weird noises and grunt, and then it would grow to this level of like violence and like SA not good stuff kind of happening. So there's a lot of really bad stuff that happened in the Osho cults, but I feel like that would make sense with a completely open sacral because this inappropriate and excessive activity going to this place of beyond overwhelm kind of makes sense.
It's
Um,
beyond overwhelm. You truly can't even tell that you're in the middle of too much until you hit the wall.
Yeah, and then even seeing that as like, oh, this is a good thing. Like, oh, you like did this crazy meditation, and with the Osho thing, like you get all this crazy stuff out to fully express, and then the peace that would come afterwards. But these things would like sometimes get like really, really violent and not okay. And then finally we have Vladimir Putin, who I think it's easy to say that he may not have a sense of when enough is enough,
Mm.
to put it really simply.
Vladimir Putin is a splenic manifester.
Hmm.
Yep, and open ego too.
You
Um,
don't say.
I will say he does a pretty good job of keeping himself relatively low key as it relates to stuff. You know, what I mean, he tries not to say too much when he's out there talking, but this whole war thing has gone on too long. And I imagine the people who see not knowing when enough is enough isn't so much us, it's the people in his closest world. Just because of the position he holds as a 9-centered acting out a 7-centered manifestor's existence as the as the minister and basically the dictator essentially
Dictator.
of Russia.
It's like he's just a dictator. Like, yeah.
It's a mixture, you know.
He won every election and he won with
No,
100%
no,
of
I
the
get it.
vote.
Oh no, 97, 97. You know, I remember that. Yeah, no, he was like, "What are you
And
talking
those
about?"
3%
Two
of
people said
people were
no. We listened to him.
and those
Right.
3% of people were never heard from again.
Again. Oops.
Those are our celebrity examples for the completely open sacral. The completely open throat center. So the throat center is about communication and manifestation. Undefined is 27.8% of the population. This is the most rare center to be undefined and completely open. But for the undefined, they're always trying to attract attention and afraid they won't be noticed. And the not self jumps in to attract attention and often attracts the wrong kind of attention. With the completely open throat, the rarest configuration, this is 2.5% of the population, and we have no sense of context. Everything is happening, and there's just no foundational sense of context of like what's happening, what's being said, what's going on. And we have no idea what to say or what action to take. And when the not self takes over, we start speaking with a borrowed voice. We don't actually have a voice of our own. We have other people's voices that come through us, which is fun and weird at the same time. And we tend to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And we're often ignored, which can be really quite maddening and hurtful. And the gift is recognizing the quality of articulation and the authenticity of others' speech.
This gift is this quality of not only articulating the variety of ways to speak. I have a defined throat. I speak one of three different ways, essentially. So that'd be my definition in there. But also the recognition of the timing of when to speak. This throat is so critical for the timing of it all. If it's open with a theme, the timing is always running down one of those themes. If I were open throat but I still have a gate 16 and a gate 20 and a gate 12, but it were an open throat, that's my throat, 16, 20, and 12, I would have to feel the right timing to express the enthusiasm I had in the moment about something that was worth doing. That's me keynoting those three gates at that moment. And so my timing would have been off over and over again until I learned the right timing. And the thing is, learning that right timing when you have an open throat is so hard because it's FOMO. I'm missing out. I'm missing out. I gotta say, they're gonna interrupt me if I don't hurry up and get this in. I have to say it all, or I don't know what to say. I'm so nervous about what to say. Am I still trying to attract attention? Concerning yourself about what to say and how to attract that attention, how to get in the center of the thing, and how to partake in the thing, rather than just relaxing into the fact that you don't get to know. It's totally open. You have to be open to, oh, the timing's right. Blah, 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 blah. I'm in a conversation. I don't have to think about it too much anymore. The timing is basically right. When they stop, I start. When I stop, they start, type thing. If it's not going well in that conversation, the open throat's going to try and bully the other and talk more. And like, I thought I could get all the things in. That's who you're not when you see that happening. And who you really are is the person who's just open, be like, I'm not sure if that's even worth having something I need to say. Is it even? Do I even? It's not my pressure in the root. Is it enough in the sacral? Don't know. Is it worth saying? Do I even need to say this? Can I prove I need to say this? And if your theme like 16 is about sharing, can I prove I know I'm dying to share it, but can I prove I need to share it? Is it even right for these people that I'm about to share it with? Or is it right for this moment? You become wise on all that. Think of the type of communicator you make. You make the world's best negotiator, or if not negotiator, negotiating team, because you get the clue on how to use that voice, what voice to use, and the timing in which to use it for its greatest impact. And that's this huge gift. Otherwise, and if it's completely open, that very low 2.5% of people, if it is completely open, you're lost on the timing and you don't even know what to say at the time. And you don't know how to feel or where you're grounded and how you're supposed to enter this conversation, exit this conversation, dominate this conversation, bounce on this conversation or this thing or to do. And it's a very harrowing place because that will attack the mind that you're not good enough. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with you. What's wrong with your speech? Did you not learn how to talk right when you were little? You can have all kinds of not self concerns about what you're not. And if you're open, completely open throat, the mantra is, do I even need to say this? Do I know I need to say this? Does it matter if I say this? Am I feeling pressure to say this? Am I feeling uncomfortable about having to manipulate that I'm trying to think I need to say this? All of these things will come in when it's completely open because it's not knowing what to say. Just not, let me go down my words again. not understanding that you're not sure, not sensing the right timing and feeling the right way, or can't grasp quite the thing, not connected to what's supposed to be said fully. It can be harrowing until you start noticing it. Oh, that's not my pressure. That's not my thing. I thought I was trying to say something, but it's not me. I guess I guess I've been hurting myself for a while here. So let's start seeing it, because seeing it kills it. Seeing it helps correct these things, and it puts the timing right. And you can always tell if your throat starts to hurt because the energy of pouring out this energy. It's not normal to pour out the energy on your throat until you're truly within your ease of yourself at that moment, moving in the right direction. The right will is speaking, the right mojo is happening, whatever the case is, however you're configured, that open throat suddenly will speak with ease. It's got plenty to say. It's been monitoring the entirety of the spoken pattern on planet Earth regarding what to say. So it's got a wide. If the Open Ajna and Head Center got a lot of books, this thing's got a lot of words and a lot of things to say. It's been collecting them. It's loaded. It's not supposed to be under pressure, and it's waiting for the right timing. This is the master of timing. Look at it like you're the pool player. You're the person on the roulette table, and you got the right timing to drop that ball. You always pull a red 7. You always pull that lucky number, whatever it is. You just witness the right timing all the time. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You got the right timing. You just always got the right timing, but it's moving. That's a better one, because Rock'em Sock'em, you were engaged. You had to engage because the other was trying to knock your block off. That's an old game. Does anyone even remember
I
Rock'em Sock'em?
totally remember Rock'em
Oh,
Sock'em
yeah.
Robots.
Yeah, and those things broke down pretty easy, but I loved them.
Yeah.
Um, but you're engaged with the other, so you got to stay on, right? You're on. So the open throat, it mistakes being on, like aware of it's on, to thinking it now needs to be on, rather than just being aware and floating amongst the field of timing. I'm in the timing field. What does that mean, Moni? It means that apparently I'm answering your question of what the timing field is. It's this and blah, blah, blah. Now you got plenty to say about what the timing field is. You see what I'm saying? The right timing. Keep that in mind, because when you finally get it and you've seen it enough and you start to chuckle at some of the times when you overexpressed or underexpressed or just nervoused yourself out about the right timing, you start to recognize, oh, it is this whole timing thing. And now this quality of articulation and timing comes out with this authentic thing that suddenly it's impactful to others, because we need your openness, for those of you who have a totally open throat, to wildly understand that timing, because we generators aren't paying attention until you give us something to respond to. The manifestors aren't really paying attention because they're out doing, they're busy. The reflectors probably are paying attention, but they're only sampling, and the projectors are out doing the directing. So that's the deal. So understand, this timing on this thing is wicked important.
All the things you said felt very, very personally called out because I have a
Oh,
completely open throat.
does it hurt a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good,
Yeah. Rub some
right?
dirt on it.
Oh, good. No, it's supposed to, so that you can see I don't want it to. I don't want that.
Yeah, no, when I was a little girl, I was very, very quiet. I was very shy, I was very quiet. I was like this mute little girl until it became this like pressure to perform and pressure to speak and pressure to know and express and stuff. And then it became this like compulsive too much talking, where I'd rather like not be the one that's talking, but now it's like it's too much. And
Hmm.
constantly then like being in school surrounded by so many different kids and so many different energies and so much different pressure. And yeah, the fear that they're going to interrupt me. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to hear me. They're going to interrupt me. I need to say it, and I need to say it all really, really fast to get it all out. And I also need to get out more than the point, because in order to get to the point, I need to blah, blah, all the other things so I can get to my point, because too much will come out. Like, that's the
You,
thing.
if you have a totally open throat, you can absolutely notice the lack of the right timing by the lack of interest in the other. That's a
Hmm.
telltale sign. It's not the only sign, but it's a really good one.
I know, but then I start trying to perform and like get their attention again. Like,
No,
like this
that's
is,
when it's you shut up.
I know I'm
But
trying.
oh, okay. I
I'm
mean,
trying.
that's the
Um,
experiment. Anyways, that's the experiment. It's not, listen, different degrees of shutting up. You wind it down. You just recognize, and what happens naturally after that becomes the natural thing. But the point is, that's not my pressure. I know the throat's not a pressure center, but we're under pressure to perform. That's not my juice, man.
Yeah, it's the pressure of expression, and all the
Hmm.
pressure from everything is ultimately going to express out the throat. So even though the throat is not a pressure center, it's like the reception of the pressure center.
Yeah, it's a
And
receptor of the pressure center. Good point. Yep.
yeah, no, thanks. There's constantly like there's drink water, chew gum, eat mints. I put on chapstick all the time. There's this constant pressure for something with the throat, or even like smoking. Like less people smoke these days, but that's totally a way of how do I deal with there need there feels like there needs to be something constantly here because there's so much coming at it. That's definitely a thing. Or if speaking with the borrowed voice is very, very true. I feel like all the voices I speak with are not my own. They're just picked up from other places. Or I fall into these like little goofy mannerisms and these weird things come out of my mouth and I never
Mm.
know what I'm going to say because it's just happening kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right. And even concerning yourself about it is an open throat, not self sort of pattern that keeps being looked at. And I mean, you're right. All roads lead, the pressure centers lead to the throat. That's just a mechanic in the body graph. So two
Hmm.
pressure centers, one throat, and they're receiving all that pressure. So it is under pressure, no doubt. And it's not under it, that's not yours. It's not theirs. It's not the open throat has a free ride. It's like, so hey, what do you think? I don't got anything yet.
Hmm.
What do you mean? Just fucking stay with me for a minute. I'll have something in a minute, or whatever. Maybe, or
Stop
maybe I
rushing
won't.
me.
But don't try to pressure me to say something. I said I don't have anything yet. Look at now you're
Mm.
speaking in the right timing, defending your truth. Please defend your truth with an open throat. It's so important because you'll get cast into this place that never gets paid attention to. And we don't want that.
It's wild. It's happened countless times where I am in a group, a small group of people, and everyone's talking and hanging out and making little jokes and, typical group fun kind of stuff. And everyone is paying attention, listening. And then I think of something so clever and super funny and ridiculous to say, and the moment I start speaking, everyone looks away. Like ridiculousness. And like nobody hears but maybe one person near me and then they're like he and they like give me a chuckle because it was something clever. But like literally people will turn away the moment I start to speak or trying to call out to a friend and give a compliment and nothing. And then my boyfriend
Wow.
with the defined throat says it, and she's like, "Oh my god, thank you, did," and like right away is heard. It is, it's ridiculous. It is an absurd kind of experience that now that I understand it, I could laugh at it. Like now it can be a funny thing, but in the not knowing, not self, whatever you want to call it, it can be so painful and hurtful and feeling very unrecognized, especially as a projector, and unloved as a vessel of love. It can
Mm,
it can go into some weird places, and so the importance of kind of knowing like, hey, there's nothing wrong with you, it's just differently functioning. And it could be also very fun to speak with a borrowed voice, like different friends and people that I care about deeply, like they'll come through me and my boyfriend will know like, oh, that's so and so, that's so and so. And I almost have like an auditory library of like hilarious things that will just kind of come out and just be a little like, a little
right.
cherry on top for myself, that no one else understands why I'm saying something like that. But there's an appreciation of the cadence and the timing. I
Mm,
remember when I was like, 14 years old and I started discovering like stand up comedy and Monty Python. And I fell in love with the cadence and timing of comedy and developing that skill. Because again, there's no preloaded data, but this way I can learn the cadence, I can learn the timing, I can learn how to speak, which can be a lot of fun. But also I have to be very careful because I find I will just parrot things that I hear elsewhere. And I need to be very careful because I'm like, the things I say are not my own, but sometimes there's some like very strong statements.
mm.
So you got to be careful there.
Well, it's just interesting that with all the pressure that goes there, yes, it's not a pressure center, but the truth of the matter is you have to create a back force of pressure in order to just speak. And so when it's not the right timing, when it's out of turn, when it's not yourself, when it's under the stress of trying rather than just being, it tightens up the throat and it becomes an actual like sore muscle and a soreness that it just gets in the way and you'll see it. You'll start to feel it. I'm trying too hard and it's like it can feel a little bit of raspy or whatever. All I know is Bill Clinton
He had a
he
bunch
had
of
an
hanging
open throat
gates.
with like 8 or 9 activations on it. It was mostly all activated. That man had many different voices for sure, and he was talking way too much, and he spent half of his last presidency with a sore throat. At time, he just had laryngitis over and over again, like for real. It was bad. You had to stop talking. Talk about pressure.
We have our celebrities that we can talk about as well. And so, for the completely open throat, which is again a communication and manifestation, but not having a sense of context on what to say and when to say it. So, first up, we have Nicolas Cage, which there's like literally like video clips put together of him screaming and yelling in different movies and making these crazy, wild expressions. And so, you can see it with the open throat, of just like
Mm,
speaking. He doesn't know what to do, what
totally.
to say, do some crazy stuff kind of thing. You also have Eddie Murphy, who does a lot of different like voices and crazy voices and cartoons and that kind of stuff, which makes sense. You
Theo
also
Von,
have
you can tell he has nothing to say. He can't. If he tries to say something, he struggles. You can tell every time he's talking, unless it's in response to something or it's working with something.
yeah, you never know what he's gonna say. He'll say some like really, really crazy, wild stuff, and it just kind of shoots out of him, and you're at the first you're like, what the hell, what is he saying, this is insane, but it actually is like secretly brilliant underneath it. Obviously that's why he's like a successful comedian and podcaster and everything. Timothy Chalamet, he's an actor. He's like this like the little skinny one, and now he's become like Mr. like hot stuff or whatever. But he was in Dune, he was in the Bob Dylan biopic, he was in the Little Women remake. But it makes sense as like an actor being given a script and how do I express this and how do I become this? And with the Bob Dylan pick, he sang all the songs. Like he trained himself to sing like Bob Dylan. So that sense
Mm.
of the completely open throat as like open modulation can change and talk to anyone in any different way and become the different voices.
I can see the Val Kilmer thing. He played many different parts.
Yeah, Val Kilmer was another one where he was kind of almost annoying to like directors and stuff trying to figure out how he should say something, how he should express something. And then he ended up having like throat cancer or thyroid cancer. He had something with his throat and then was like unable to speak later in life before he passed.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is what the not self does, guys. The not self is the home and the start and the beginning of sickness, illness, and disease. It starts with the not self and it breaks
Mhm.
down our defenses. And now we're susceptible to all the things. And yeah, we get stuff.
You also have Lady Gaga, who, as you said, singers, like great singers with a completely open throat, which she is, but then it's also the overworking of the throat because then she has like autoimmune issues as well. And I don't know if it's thyroid, but I think she does have something with her thyroid and some kind of autoimmune issues, I would imagine, from overusing of the voice. And then again, we have Amanda Bynes, who is absolutely brilliant. And as a little kid too, she was doing all these crazy different roles and performances and like was like playing like 8 or 10 different characters in an episode on a sketch show of doing all these crazy different voices, which was super, super brilliant. But I think it was also damaging to like a young child. I mean, child stardom is so damaging in so many ways, but to be pretending to be so many different people while your own sense of who you are is developing, I could imagine would be very, very confusing as well.
Mm. I can see this. I feel pretty good about this throat thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, completely open throat celebrity, very interesting because, again, this ability there's no context, there's no preloaded data. And so, this ability to modulate the voice and speak in different ways and say crazy things and not know how to say them, but then train themselves to sing in a beautiful, fully expressive way or to act or to be this ridiculous comedian who's always coming up with crazy stuff no one has ever thought of and saying it in a different way. So, it's kind of fun. Embracing the open canvas from chaos to intelligence. Completely open centers absorb the world's energies, thoughts, emotions, and drives, making life feel chaotic and undefined, mirroring and amplifying everything around into a whirlwind of not me experiences that can overwhelm. Openness fosters profound adaptability and wisdom, turning collective input into unique insights. Far from a weakness, it's a source of potential, evolving faster, synthesizing deeper, navigating humanity with unmatched clarity.
I mean, it's just well said. Navigating humanity with unmatched clarity isn't going to happen if you're not in your experiment. You're not looking at this thing. Otherwise, you'll constantly be not really navigating, but rather reacting all the time. So all of this openness is so dependent upon getting into your human design experiment, understanding your strategy, authority, this type that you have, understanding the things, your incarnation cross, your profile, and definitely your definition. That definition is the student, man. That's the stuff you can count on and the easiest to understand. So it seems what's easiest to understand, Moni? Definition is up there, if not the easiest, the top two or three things that are just the easiest to understand. I tell you this channel, oh yeah, I recognize that in me, that type of thing. Unless it's unconscious, I guess. Even then you'll see it. You got to get it all. Follow your strategy and authority. Then this navigating humanity with unmatched clarity will start to come to fruition for you. It'll realize itself right before your eyes, by the way, something you can't miss. And it comes because you got yourself read and you have the analysis done. And then you started. You said, yeah, I'm going to wake up today. Today's the day. So is today the day? I say waking up is a good thing to do.
That was our episode on completely open centers. So we went through all of them to give you an idea to kind of flesh it out because it's something that I think is a curiosity and I don't see a ton about it being spoken about. So I thought it'd be fun to explore it in that way and get a better sense of what that is if you have a completely open center, but just for all of us to understand a little bit more about how these centers work from a different perspective of when they don't have the software, they just have the hardware, but
Mm.
it can be confusing at first because you don't know what to do with it and it's what is this, no data, cannot compute. But then if you can learn to kind of play with it and see it and enjoy it, it turns into playing with it. You can literally play with all these different expressions and have fun with it and recognizing it's not yours but you're engaging with it and you can do so in a healthy way.
Don't let the world fill up your open centers with the not self stress that is not yours. And with each center we went through, just keep watching and see how this thing is affecting you. Use laughter as the moment you can gauge that you started to really see it, because you'll laugh at it. Essentially, it's just one of the telltale signs. It's one of the symptoms that you're waking up is when you laugh at some of the things that you see. I really hope this episode helped because it was really, there's a nuance between the things, but there's a complete need to do it because they're different creatures when there is no activation. And so this was a good episode, Moni. We went on for a killer amount of time, dude. We had to get it because think of what it did. It made us understand more juice about the open center with activations because we were juxtaposing them together and suddenly we were pulling out even more good juice. So it was a good episode. Good thing to
Yeah,
do. This is a
absolutely.
master class really on that. So
Yeah, pretty much. So enjoy. If you are interested in booking a reading with either Danny or myself, you can check out the QR code right there and you can use code AWAKEN for 10% off if you want to book a reading, hang out with us, and we can help you understand your chart. Also, if you are getting a lot out of our episodes and you'd like to support us, then you can check out the donation link up here in this QR code. It's also down in the description box below, and we really appreciate that. So thank you for anything you can share. Otherwise, thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, hanging out with us, asking us questions, doing all the super fun, awesome stuff. We love having you, and we will see you next time.
see you next time. Love you very much, everybody.